Hello and welcome to a absolutely wonderful week in gaming. We are the Easy Allies podcast. I am Michael Huber, joined by Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
Michael Damiani.
You said a wonderful week.
It is.
But
is it a bad week?
Some people might disagree after that Switch 2 pre-order.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It was an ordeal, but it's so many games.
Aside from that, a Nintendo console pre-order launch is exciting. It's exciting, Damiani.
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement this week. You're not going to rain on my parade, Damiani. It's a good-ass week.
People are getting up at 6 a.m. to camp at GameStop, where they probably haven't been for 8 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. I remember for Wii, I was sleeping, literally took a nap on the concrete outside of a GameStop. Yep. Making it all happen in the control room, we got Isla Hink.
Don't tell me not to sing, I simply gotta.
Maybe this time.
Different song, but good.
We got Don Casanova.
He's over there.
Yeah. And we got Gabby Montoot. What
She
is
says
up?
hi.
Everyone, we have just a fun show. It is just a fucking busy, electric week in the industry.
is.
I'm so excited. We are here to talk about what's new, what's news, and what we've been playing. There's a lot going on. We're going to dive in to a little bit, because I've only played a few hours, because it just came out of nowhere.
Yep.
If the fucking insiders didn't leak it. Friggin' insiders. Ruining the surprise like they always do for the clicks and the money and the clout. Thanks, insiders.
I don't think they get much money. But
Well,
anyways.
It's engagement. Whatever. The Oblivion remaster, it is back. Also, Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Heck yeah.
Wow. Ghost of Yotei has a release date and a new trailer. Goaty watch. Goaty alert. Look out. FBC Firebreak also had a big
Release date and
and
they
showcase.
showed gameplay and all
Yep.
that stuff. Yeah.
From Remedy, who is just operating at the peak of their powers right now. Absolutely one of the best in the biz. Isla's been playing Sunderfolk.
Hell yeah, dude.
Don't sleep on Sunderfolk. Yeah. Busy week, but
Yeah.
yo,
That's one of the
Sunderfolk's
first
sick.
games out of Mike Morheim's new studio, Dreamhaven. So.
I did not know that, Bloodworth. That is sick. And then also one of my favorite things ever, sales report from March.
Oh,
All right. Dawn, it's been a while. I love you, bud. Dawn, it's fucking been a while, dude. Or Isla. Well, I don't know why Dawn, it says Dawn, but it's Isla.
Well, Don will actually put it in there. I don't know.
Okay.
Exactly. I guess Isla. What do we say? Isla went back. Isla's in the booth.
Don, I don't know. Don's gonna edit it.
Don's
so
gonna
he's-
put the music in there.
Yeah.
Dawn and Isla together. Begin corrections music, please. Corrections. Here we go. Okay. In Goaty Watch, Mario Kart World, the rewind feature is only available in free roam and solo races. This is very critical information.
That's a clarification, and we
Yes.
even kind of said maybe it might not work in multiplayer. So I just want to
We had a whole
point
discussion.
out that's a
on it.
clarification.
Okay, all right. So this is a clarification / correction.
Yeah.
It was noted on screen during the direct, so you don't have to worry about how that's going to work in multiplayer, because it simply won't work in multiplayer.
Be awesome, but they did let it work
Yeah.
in multiplayer since it just hurts you anyway.
Insane.
It could be it could be a pickup, like a super
'Cause-
rare pickup.
But someone's gonna totally use it to still screw people with. But
It would actually be a funny weapon to make somebody else rewind.
Oh my god. Like shoot him with a clock or something.
Oh yeah. Shoot the what's it, Lakitu or whatever, the little cloud at him. He picks you up, brings you back.
That would be freaking brutal. And not exactly a correction, but we asked whether the Titans from Titanfall, I was very intrigued about this, I needed to know, whether the Titans from Titanfall had ever appeared in Apex Legends, and of course, resident Apex
we know.
legend, Alexander Zhiryanov answered this with a quote. The Titans were never a part of Apex Legends gameplay, and it's very unlikely they ever will for a simple reason. The game is not designed for them. Maps are built for different players' size, movement, and gunplay are tuned for human-sized targets, etc. There were a couple limited time events that had double jump and wall running, but that wasn't the main focus because, again, maps are not designed around such movement. From the narrative perspective, however, this is where it gets interesting. The Titan's presence is significant, which is not surprising, as the Apex Legends takes place a mere 20 years after the events of Titanfall 2. Confirmed.
Yeah, I
20
didn't
years.
know
I didn't
exact
know that.
context. I knew
Yeah.
they were connected, but I didn't know how.
Yeah. The most notable connections are with two legends. Ash, she is one of the bosses in Titanfall 2. Never even knew this. I beat that game. And Conduit. Her combat rig is powered by Monarch Titan's battery. Very, very cool. Awesome. If you have a correction, leave it in the comments on YouTube because we love being wrong. But note that we make no promises as to whether it will be accepted or selected or whether this segment will ever return again. Who knows?
Here's a sample correction.
Yeah.
The correction section from this week contained one clarification and just some information on a question we asked.
Yeah.
So
If you
no
ever wanted to
corrections.
know, we had to put it somehow.
Yeah. I love it.
And I had the Mario Kart correction, so there
We
we go.
love it. And corrections music, please. All right. Let us dive into it. It has happened. Here we go. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Bloodworth, it's one of those remaster makes we like to
Right.
call.
Oh yeah, no, I was giggling at the blog.
Yeah.
And they eventually in the showcase, like the way they explained it made a little bit more sense, but in the blog it was like everything is underpinned by the original game, and then they go step by step about how they basically like ripped it all out and replaced it. It's like, yeah, the graphics are different and the gameplay is different and the UI is different and
Yeah.
the leveling system's different. I'm like, huh. It doesn't sound like
It's not like a remaster here.
but it is still apparently like a lot of logic and everything. And and that's the other thing that's kind of crazy is that like they redid a lot of the VO so that like every
That's crazy.
race has different VO. They're not
That's a
all
straight up
shared anymore.
remake.
Yeah,
Because
like,
with Last of Us, like they didn't do any VO, so that's kind of like a actual like remaster make, But this actually like does feel like a remake.
Except crucially, they left in the part where that lady says like, "Hang on, I can do that better," and just says the entire line again.
Yeah,
that's still in there.
they
I
specifically
love that.
said that they left. Yeah, they left in the quirky stuff.
Love
yeah.
that. Love that.
And they used Unreal like animation stuff to like make the lip sync and stuff like match up with those original voice lines and everything. It's pretty cool.
Wow. I want to throw it to the panel, and as I throw it to y'all, I just want to say and reiterate, like I always do, I love remasters and remakes for the sole reason of not only being able to revisit some of the greatest games ever made, and not only having new players be able to play one of the greatest games ever made, but just to have the conversation again. Like here we are, we get to talk about Oblivion today. Like this is awesome. Isla, I know you are an Elder Scrolls fan. What are your thoughts?
except for Skyrim.
Except for yeah. I was always more Morrowind and Oblivion as well,
Hell
Isla.
yeah, hell
For
yeah.
sure, for sure.
Yeah, I'm big into Morrowind and Oblivion. Didn't like Skyrim for whatever reason, just didn't land for me. Although, as I was saying the other day, I played Oblivion wrong. Like, I was the head of the Assassin's Guild, the Thieves Guild, and the Mages Guild, and I never started the story, so the gates never even opened for me. So I played this game for like hundreds of hours
Yeah.
and never did the story.
That's the correct way. You played
That's
it
the
correctly.
correct way.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, dude, I'm excited for this. Like, you caught me eating an Oreo, but
Excellent.
As I was playing Avowed, like the first 8 hours of that I played, I had real OG Oblivion, Dragon's Dogma, jumping around on roofs kind of vibes,
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of stuff I really appreciate in these games is just dicking around and going for it, jumping to
Totally.
skill up and
Just
exploring.
jumping around, spamming jump.
Spamming jump.
It's
Just
so
spamming
fun.
jump. Yeah. But I think this is cool.
And you're going to hop in for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not.
But if it's on Game Pass or something.
Yeah,
which I
it
think
is.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, then maybe I will at some point if it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
I'll get it on Game Pass for PC or whatever.
I had the chance to hop in. I've played like 4 or so hours, and I like these games. I'm not like a fanatic. So for me, it's great, but I could totally understand, like, when I played The Last of Us Part 1 remake remaster, it was jarring at first, you know, because you have such an affinity and such a connection to the original,
Right?
like the way it looks, and by the way it looks, the way it feels because of that. So yeah, this definitely looks and feels pretty different than the original. But what I was thinking when I was playing it is like, if your fucking writing is just top tier good, your game is going to stand the test of time. Your game is going to survive. And Oblivion's writing just right out of the gate is just so well done. You got friggin' Sir Patrick Stewart coming in, like reading these lines, and it's like you can't, like, that is just timeless. That will not age,
Right.
I feel like, poorly as time goes on.
Yeah. I with that. I had put a timestamp link in there for when the footage starts, but they go back and forth between the talking heads and stuff as they talk about different features.
Yeah. Blood, where do you stand on Elder Scrolls Oblivion? Because we did have 15 straight years, it feels like, of nonstop Skyrim.
Oh yeah, for
So-
sure. No, I'm one of the people that that totally was not even in tune with this series at this point. I really didn't play any Bethesda games until Fallout 3, and let's see, like at this time, like when this came out, 2006, right? I was still like right before I had fully like started covering multi-platform. Like I was still primarily covering GameCube stuff and GBA and DS, and
This was in my
Wii
peak,
was about to come out.
This was my peak PC gaming days. So I was playing this on
and-
PC.
For sure, yeah.
And so like it was a while before I got a 360 even. Like I think I even got a PS3 before I got a 360, even though I had a Xbox. But the reason I had an Xbox was for Halo.
Yeah.
Right. But I just remember not knowing anything about the series and not having the knowledge of like how like their RPG systems and everything worked. Like I just remember like looking at screenshots and videos of Oblivion and everyone talking about like how great it looked, and I'm like, this game is ugly, dude.
I always thought that.
I thought
I'm
this
with you.
game was so ugly.
Same, ugly. Bethesda games are ugly. Sorry,
it was like
I said
just
it.
like
sorry.
such an example to me
Yep.
of like
Yep.
a game being like technically
Yep.
good graphically with like
Hideous games. I don't care what
bump
anyone
maps
says.
and all this stuff, and it was just like, but this is ugly.
Yeah.
So it's like actually, seeing this remaster was like, this actually looks really nice.
Yeah,
you know,
cozy.
and like having not had the experience like with this, legendary game that so many people have had, it's like, like it is drawing me back in there. And then like a lot of the stuff that they've talked about changing in here too is pretty crazy. It's like sprinting was added, like you couldn't sprint before.
That is crazy. I didn't even remember that. That is wild.
They also like combat also now includes sound effects, visual effects, and hit reactions. There's like stuff that sounds so basic.
I know.
But they've done a lot here, and then for Damiani, like they've really worked on the third person
Damiani
perspective, so that it feels more akin to Starfield. That was kind of like their
Yeah.
benchmark for what they wanted to hit.
Nah, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that change.
I think it's just so wild, like hopping into this, and just within the first, hour, the sense of freedom and exploration is so top notch. I mean, it definitely is such a groundbreaking game. Obviously, that was there in Morrowind, of course, but like Oblivion really opened up just the free roam element, going into these different towns. Like, you have your main objective, and like Isla was saying, played 100 hours or something and never even bothered with the Oblivion gates. Just like coming to a town and organically getting into those situations, which is such a common thing now in video games. And back then it wasn't as common, especially for
console.
triple
At
A
that
console.
time, like there was not a lot of things
first-person-
like that at all. Like, the
Exactly.
closest thing you could probably talk about is like GTA, but
Yes.
it's a whole different whole different ballgame.
Totally
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
I remember. I don't think it was this because it was the era we're jumping to HD, right? I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was GTA 4 maybe, where I was just like, oh, I gotta get a better TV. I can't read anything.
Oh.
Everything is too small.
Well, Dead Rising was criminally guilty of that.
Yep.
yeah.
Because you literally could not, like,
Could
the text
not.
could not
Yeah,
be read. It
could
was broken
not.
up by the pixels on an SD screen.
Yeah.
I can't remember which game it was, but it was one of these like big open world games.
I remember too, because there was a while at game trailers where, like, I was bouncing back and forth where, like, I was doing my reviews for, like, I was playing some at home and I was playing some in the office. And at home, I didn't have an HDTV yet. And there was some game, I want to say it was, like, maybe X-Men Wolverine, but I don't
X-Men
think,
Origins Wolverine, the greatest movie
I
tie-in
don't
game
think
of
it was
all
that
time.
one. I think it was a different game.
One of the best. Maybe
But
not
I think it might have been licensed. Anyways, but I just remember that, like, there were glitches that I would see at home, and then I would come in to record them in the office, and then I couldn't get them to show up because they only showed up in SD. They weren't showing up in HD.
That's so funny. Yeah, this game is almost 20 years old, dude.
Yeah.
That is insane. 2 decades. Like, we look at games from like 5 or 10 years ago, and it's like, dude, this is 20 years old. What? Damiani, I always ask you about this stuff. The historical relevance of Oblivion. Does it matter to you? Does it pique your curiosity? Because you have time and time again on these podcasts shared your love of exploration and discovery, my man. And this is that. Are you intrigued? Will you hop in?
I mean, the answer is sadly no, but that is more due to what I played in Skyrim and their more recent effort, Starfield, and it's just cemented that these type Bethesda Works games are not really for me.
Yeah, just not feeling it. Okay.
I gave 2. I did Skyrim.
Yeah.
I didn't finish Skyrim. I played a good amount, but like I did obviously finish Starfield, and it's like I get it. I understand the appeal.
Yeah.
But from a historical standpoint, Oblivion was. I mean, obviously Skyrim. It's hard to look beyond Skyrim because it's like what. 14, 15, I don't know. Like it's been over a decade of just like Skyrim dominance.
Skyrim,
and
like GTA, Mario Kart, Skyrim. Like,
remembering pre-Skyrim very like clearly, but like Oblivion was, a huge thing when people were talking about it when it came out. It just has like Skyrim, for better or worse, overshadowed it and just, become this like the thing that like in 10 years from now, the Skyrim remake will be like, yes, perfect. Like it might not be the best one, but like, hell yeah, I'm going to relive all the memes and shit. Like, like, and it's like going to continue the meme because it keeps coming out. But like, I'm glad they did this. I'm not glad about like, I don't know anything about like the reception of this game. It's about the conceptually trying to tackle something like this because, as you said, this was a very large, monumental game when it came out, and it's awesome to revisit them and try and do something with them. I don't know how well it's being received. The reason I'm being a little cautious because I did read someone saying it has like Unreal Engine problems and like there might be some PC issues with it.
Like,
I don't know.
Definitely
compilation
looks and feels,
stuff.
Yeah, it definitely looks and feels
so it's
different,
like,
for sure.
they got that wrong. It's like, okay, we'll see.
I think the
But I mean, it's early.
is a Windows problem. Mostly.
Well,
Unreal
I
and
think it
Windows
comes up more in Unreal
problem.
stuff, but yeah.
but it's early. Like that's why I like don't want to get like too weighted down in that. Like that's to be seen. But just conceptually doing this and like just having it like the visual fidelity, I think. Catches your eye. This is what I keep talking about, like the games that still need a treatment like this or some kind of event like this. Like I keep saying, like Ocarina of Time. It's like where is that one? Like when are we gonna get that moment like this? It might be good, like the remake, but you still want that to happen for these like cherished games.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun to celebrate this. Especially if you weren't like around for the first one, or you get to like have people talk to you about like why this was such a big deal, and it like brings it back to the forefront. So it's nice to have that every so often, I would say. But at the same time, we've just been talking about how many like games are just coming out.
So
Just
many
like
games.
I guess if you're going to release it, just doing it, the event and releasing it, maybe they were pressured by the leaks. I don't know. But like,
No,
it also seems like
I
it's
don't think
pretty
so.
busy right now.
Yeah.
So how long will this stay, in the forefront? I saw it was doing very well, like on Steam. Like, it's probably like, if it hasn't broken it already, like 200,000 concurrent,
Yeah,
it'll probably
insane.
hit that at some point. So that's pretty good for that type of game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm more curious about like, yeah, I always ask this. I redirect this back to people who are really played the original, were really into the original. How far can a remake go before it starts to rub you the wrong way? Essentially, like they change too much, or it doesn't it's the visual style. This looks a little too off. Is any of that? Have you been going through any of that with this? Any of you?
Personally, I am not. I don't lose sleep
I know.
over Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls, So like, I did play this a ton as a kid, so I do have the nostalgia and the history with it. But because it doesn't mean as much to me as like other things in my life, I like the way this one looks and feels and plays more modernized. Like, I'm never really itching to go back to the original Oblivion, like some other games. Like I'll go back to the original Resident Evil or Last of Us. Because those are like my games, and my youth and my childhood. But with something like this, I love the opportunity to just hop back into Oblivion in a more modern way.
It's interesting because, from, I know it will take some people to like really dig in, but, it seems like all of the map data, all the characters, all that stuff is like there, but it's just been, basically built on top of. So it's such a different experience to like look at the original game and look at this game side by side and just how different it looks.
Yeah,
because
it does.
Like
differently.
with Metroid Prime Remastered, like you walked into that game and you felt like you were still playing the same game. And then when you really looked at it, it's like, oh, you could appreciate all the differences. But with this, it's just like, man, I feel like I'm just playing a brand new freaking Elder Scrolls
It
game.
really feels like that, Blood.
Yeah.
Totally.
That makes me wonder then, to throw back something to you, if for people maybe who aren't in,
Adoring fan.
yeah, I guess. The question would be, are there some games that maybe don't need to be remade as much as people might ask for it? Like it might actually be like a worse case. Like, because we always
Mario
say
Brothers
it's
3.
good for people to have a new version of it to play and it brings it forward. But I wonder if there's ever instances where that's not really true. It's a game that was a product of its time, and trying to modernize it, you lose too much of its identity. It doesn't feel the same, and it's not even giving modern audiences an actual glimpse into what it really felt like. You're giving them something else. It's not it's kind of lost its soul, I guess. Is what I'm trying to get at. I don't know if any of these. I personally don't think I've encountered one yet. Maybe I'm just forgetting off the top of my head, but I wonder if that's ever popped in your heads about when they revisit these games.
This one is a crazy case though, because when you think about it, I mean, this is a remake of a 20-year-old game. That doesn't happen very often. We get these remasters of 5-year-old games, 6 years, 7, 10. This is almost 20 now. So I can't really think of that many remasters or remakes of 20-plus-year-old games, Damiani.
Yeah.
I think they're working on the Gothic, right? But I'm not sure with the Embracer nonsense how that's going. But
imagine, right? It's probably because one, it's easier to just go back to something only a generation ago and bring it forward, obviously. And even beyond the technical aspect, the challenge of bringing back a 20-year-old game, sometimes revisiting a classic, you run the risk of damaging the memory, the fondness of it. That was the big worry about
System Shock.
that's a
That
good
remake
one. Yeah,
is
yeah.
completely different, but also the original is janky as shit. So the remake really modernized it, but it does feel like a completely different game.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was gonna say it was that was the biggest fear for the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah,
it's sure we're getting it, but it's will that
20 years.
That's that's such a revered game.
Yeah,
and could it, what if it's not good? What if it's bad? Will people start, does that, not
Resident
even from like
Evil 2.
a corporate standpoint, not even thinking like IP value. I'm just like for the fans, it's like you leave well enough alone, and it's like for the most part for a generation of people, it'll be revered as like one of the greatest games.
Yeah.
And that's cool. If you bring it forward and it's terrible, now you have modern discourse about the modern one's not good. Also, we need to reevaluate the old one. Like, was it even that good? And like, you start getting all that stuff.
Damiani, man,
It's
that's
like,
why I am such a defender, and I will always die on the hill for the reimagining of Resident Evil 3. Because
There
it
you go.
is
Oh,
so
okay.
different. Like, I love that, dude. I love it.
I think one of the things it's also kind of funny here because they did talk about new locomotion and animation and all that because I think that's one of the harder things to try to figure out. It's like, okay, we're keeping the same map, we're keeping the world, and we're trying to keep like the logic and like how characters move around and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, if you have these high quality assets and they're still like doing some weird janky walk across town or something like that, it's just like, having that disconnect or whatever. So it's, I'm curious, since this is just trailer footage and like very selected shots. Mm-hmm. How does the Bethesda jank translate into up-resing everything and putting new graphics on top?
It's like when they released the widescreen like next generation or the HD next generation, when you're like, you can just see like crew members on the side of the shot because like it was 4:3 before that was out of the camera.
Totally,
But they filmed it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's kind of like that.
Or more
Boom
less
mics
that
and
they
Buffy.
filmed it and more that it was captured on camera.
Right. They knew it would be covered for the TV broadcast at the time they filmed it.
I think this is a great place to hop into Elder Scrolls if you never have. Also Skyrim, of course. Because, it's so weird hopping into franchises now. It can be a little tricky, You start with the most recent and then go back, even though if you're going back, the game won't be as
they
good
really
on a
talked
technical
about that
level.
too, though, about like, and I'm not familiar with it, but they talked about how the story is sort of like a turning point in the franchise. And like, it's a big deal. And it's like, if you're wondering what that big deal was about, like, you should go back and play this game.
Yep. Skyrim's like 200 years later or something. It's like crazy. It's
So-
way later.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But I wonder, if they're happy with this and if people that end up, getting to put some time in like this weekend and stuff are happy with this, I wonder if there's a path where like they say, all right, you guys did a good job with this. Like, here's Fallout 3, here's Skyrim, like
Morrowind,
here's
dude.
Morrowind.
Where's that
Dude, New
Morrowind?
Vegas.
I think the further back you go, the harder it gets. But yeah.
Give me Morrowind and New Vegas, dude.
Because they've done a lot of work here to
Seriously.
like build the engine in a way to where like I could see that like you could potentially like use all these same textures and objects and things in a Skyrim. Mm-hmm. Fallout, you need to do a lot more work to like make it fit that world. But
and they've remastered Skyrim like
100 times.
100 times, but
Yeah.
they're not this level of
Right.
Yeah, not this treatment. For
Mr.
Sure.
Showtime on chat dropped a factoid that I'm just going to believe, but the 2009 GOTY version of Oblivion had a peak of 6,400 players concurrent
Yep.
on Steam.
Pre-social media
This had
zeitgeists.
182,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steam was also nothing. when
Steam
this
was
came out.
very new then
Exactly.
too, but yeah. it's
What's that
just
adjusted for Steam
interesting.
inflation?
Yeah, adjusted for inflation, it's
Totally.
still doing better now.
And that to me is why Skyrim was always the biggest, because I've said a billion times in my life that, games just keep outdoing themselves. And gaming is just more popular and more popular. More people have access. Social media makes it, so the zeitgeist so clear of like, oh, this game looks good. Yeah.
Well, one thing that's funny too is that like by making a really pretty version of this game that so many people love, like it kind of like ratchets up the pressure on them for 6. Like
right?
you better nail
Yeah.
6 now.
This is a band-aid to make people stop asking about 6.
Yeah. So honestly,
And,
bridge that gap.
Yeah. I guess you could take it that way. Like, is this mean like 6 is like so far off? It's like,
Yeah. Crazy.
Don't worry, they were waiting for Switch 2. It'll be at like the summer Switch event. Watch.
For sure.
They'll reveal the gameplay blowout there on Switch 2.
A Morrowind remake would be
Oh, it'd be insane. I would
so sick.
I would like That is the one
So
that
sick.
hits like in the feels for me. Like Oblivion was fun, but Morrowind was like my life for like a year
Yeah.
and a half.
Morrowind.
Daredevils in chat says that a New Vegas remaster timed to season 2 of Fallout would be good because they're going to New Vegas.
That's some super good marketing. That's a very
That-
smart move.
I don't believe in that timeline, but
Very
yeah,
smart.
it would be great. But
Well, I'm saying if they are already working on
sure,
it.
sure. I
like,
don't.
in secret.
If it weren't for the
Yeah.
if it weren't for the annoying influencers that spoil everything, this would have come out of nowhere.
Right.
So Morrowind could also be cooking, and maybe they just don't know yet, or something. Something could be cooking.
Yeah.
Because this really,
well,
like,
I mean,
if they didn't leak
but
that,
cooking,
this would have come
but cooking in the sense that I think that like this is doing really well.
out. Yeah.
We think this is gonna be a slam dunk. So 6 months ago, they
Yeah.
greenlit the next one, and people started doing pre-production.
Yeah.
Maybe a year ago at the most.
I mean, insiders, not influencers. Fine line. Fine
There you
line.
go.
Oh, okay.
Insiders. TM. God. All right. Next up, Goaty Watch.
Oh.
Ghost of Yotei.
Oh.
New trailer and release date. Ghost of Tsushima, seriously one of my favorite games of all time. Iki Island, one of my favorite expansions of all time. How are we feeling? What is the vibe check in the room on Ghost of Yotei?
I think it looks really, really sick. It is. We were pointing out before we started shooting that like it does feel like there are some similarities to her story and Naoe's story in Assassin's Creed.
Literal same game. Hunt
No.
down.
No,
You're
it's
hunting
not.
down the Akatsuki, dude.
I
It's the
mean,
same thing. Literally.
Conceptually, in some degrees, sure, but these games definitely play very different.
I'm just speaking from the story. The game, this is already infinitely better than Mid Shadows.
But yeah, so we got the quotes here from the email / blog. But yeah, 16 years ago, a gang of outlaws known as the Yotei Six took
The
everything
Yotei
from
Six.
Atsu.
That sounds like a band.
They killed her family and left her for dead, pinned to a burning ginkgo tree outside her home. But she survived
Hell yeah.
and learned to fight, kill, hunt. And now she's got the list.
The
The
list.
6
Dude.
names.
You just
Kill
made the
Bill.
list.
Kill Bill right there.
Yeah.
The
Yup.
snake, the oni,
Jericho.
the kitsune, the spider, the dragon, and Lord Saito.
and Black Mamba.
It
and
is.
Bill.
Yeah.
Seriously. It is so Assassin's Creed Shadows coded, but
Man, she looks like Erica. I didn't realize.
Yeah, she does. But the yellow actually, now that you've said, it's like, oh yeah, there's the Kill Bill vibes.
Kill Bill, yeah, this is a Kill Bill coded outfit right here.
dude, love these wolves.
But yeah, and she's using the same katana that was used to pin her to the tree.
So sick.
Yeah.
What a
That's
flex.
cool.
Yeah. Hunting them down.
But
Give me
while her
that
story
lethal
begins with
Kurosawa
vengeance, she'll find there's more to her journey than just revenge. She meets new allies and forges connections, etc., etc. And then you have freedom to choose which leads and which member you're going after and which order you want to do all that in, as well as a lot of extra side activities like we got in Tsushima, as well as some returning ones.
Jeez. Looks good.
Cool.
Building a
looks
campfire
really
anywhere
good.
in the open world.
Finally.
Anywhere.
I'm curious. What do you think of that? Is that a bullet point for you to
No, I
whet
think
your
the
appetite
most-
for the visuals and all that?
I think the most. I'm a little torn on the whole like tackle them in any order.
Oh, sure.
Thing that
you think
like,
that might weaken some of the story.
Yeah, that with an open world specifically, like an open world game like this, where it's like tackle them in
Yes.
any order. That to me, I'm already concerned about the
Huber.
stakes and the focus,
Huber.
and just like get it wandering around. Yeah.
What if it's like Mega Man? You can take them in any order, but each one gives you a power up that makes other ones
That's
harder
pretty
or
cool.
easier.
Yo, if we're going full Mega Man, like getting their powers vibes, I am down.
Elder,
for
it's like
that.
Elden Ring. You could do that in any order.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I am down for that. Yeah, but with Elden Ring though, some of those like bosses
Yeah,
later are like,
yeah.
yo, you got to be like pretty.
Well, and there is
Unless
like
you're
there's a gate
psycho.
like halfway through the game. There is a gate that you
Yeah.
like. You have to have done certain things to get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get you, Huber, about that.
Yeah,
about that
just
complaint.
it's just
Yeah,
always
yeah.
it's always just a little bit of that open world concern down there.
Yeah.
Like you're playing Xenoblade right now, like you probably feel a little bit of the like.
Yeah, I mean Zelda. Like I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
but that's a different format. But how do you I always love when you fill me in about Red Dead Redemption 2, how it handles doing it, because you revere that story type of storytelling. And where do you try and go with these types of games? Because obviously this is marketed as heavily narrative driven.
Yeah.
And so even if it is tackle them at your own the order you choose, I imagine there will be a setup quest, and they'll try and get you into it feels like its own like a little self-contained narrative, but how did all those connect together? Because as you said, the premise is they've got a list. It's a story of revenge. Which is the one? Is it gonna flex on which one is oh shit, they're a little too powerful. We got to retreat. Every the stereotype in every revenge movie, you come across the one who's too powerful.
Yep.
You think you're good, but
gotta
you realize
regroup.
you're not there yet, and you got to go back and train harder. It's is this gonna be a random one, or is it fixed? And if you do it in different order, what if you go there first? It's damn, that's kind of crushing defeat versus I beat 5 of them and I'm going for number 6, and they're that's how it would feel in an anime. It's there we go. You're coming across the head honcho here.
Because I just think it goes to Tsushima, and while obviously a couple side quests here and there and 50 plus foxes can derail you from the main storyline, there's always that clear focus and pull of what is next for the main narrative. So now I just have the PTSD of Assassin's Creed Shadows because it's fresh and new and on my mind of here's 50 targets, go, and then it just becomes I'm checklisting of okay, you're next, go here, and I'm just systematically going through instead of the narrative pushing me along. So that's just my
What if the wind were pushing you?
Oh, I love the wind mechanic. The wind guidance in Ghost of Tsushima is the best.
I am curious though when they talk about tracking down leads, the idea that you might not know where they are, that it's not that just each guy is in just some stronghold in a different part of the map, that you might have to figure out where they are, and along the way of doing that, then maybe some of the other contracts give you a clue or whatever.
Yeah.
That could actually be pretty interesting, that it's not that you're going after this guy first, it's just you're just following the lead until you see where it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, Blood.
Chat is saying that it maybe does look like you take the weapons of the people you fight.
Sick,
maybe?
Isla. Sick.
All right.
Give me the Mega Man Buster armor. Whatever.
October
is
2nd, by the way. We didn't actually say the release date
October
yet,
2nd.
so.
This, straight up for me, is Goaty Watch alert. Just judging from Sucker Punch and obviously Ghost of Tsushima itself.
Yeah.
This is a day one in my most anticipated of the year. How do we all feel about that? Are y'all hyped?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I unfortunately have the ridiculous backlog of things that I've never finished, and so it's Ghost of Tsushima is one of those games. It's I got started, and I wanted to play more, and then I couldn't for whatever dumb reason.
Too many games.
Exactly. But yeah, I definitely have very high expectations of this in every aspect.
Hell yeah. What about you? You were hyped, Tommy. What did you just say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as something bigger doesn't drop that I'm interested in October.
October, man. That's GTA time. Look out.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I might play this before GTA 6, Huber.
Hell yeah.
Would you take? Oh, you said hell yeah.
Hell
I thought
yeah.
you'd be like, how dare you?
No. No
Play
way.
GTA 6 immediately.
Oh.
What are you crazy? No. That's
Dude,
what I expected from you.
Yeah, no, just freaking, dude. Just basing on the first one with Jin Sakai. I mean, I'm expecting big things from.
Yeah,
from her.
as I said, I didn't finish the first one, but I played a good amount, and I was really enjoying what I was playing. So this just looks, visually more impressive. alluding to more refined elements of the gameplay system that I already really loved. I think it's going to come down to the overall design in terms of like what your activities are, and I hate classifying it like that, but yes, what are the icons on the map that and what are you gonna be doing, and what's the point where it starts to feel like, man, or if any point it starts to feel like some things are starting to get a little tedious, or I can stop focusing on that a little bit more and stick to like the story maybe. That's what I'm like really curious about, what they're doing with this one for sure.
Oh yeah. Any other thoughts before we move on to the next big one?
I think we're good. It was a real brief, kind of like the blog, like like half the blog was just about like the pre-order editions and all that stuff. So,
but we got a date, which is big for PlayStation, because a lot of people have been like, "Yo, what's going on, PlayStation? Like, you've been slow with your first party." That is a massive game coming out in October, so good move for them. Next up, our Lord and Savior Remedy. Our Lord and Savior Remedy has a lot of things cooking up, and because they have so much cooking up, I view this as a little aperitif, a little appetizer, a little side dish. FBC Firebreak in the Remedy universe, but a little different for them. I know they've made multiplayer games in the past.
No, they said this is their first multiplayer game.
They did the single player of that one. What the hell was
Crossfire?
that game? Crossfire, yeah. So this is like
looks chaotic.
Chaotic multiplayer here. How are we feeling about this? There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, so this is really.
There's a lot to unpack.
I watched through the stream today.
Settle in.
So just to get some of the fact stuff out of the way first, because actually I got to it late, but I jumped in like right when they were giving the news part when Thomas was in there. So it's coming June 17th.
That is really soon.
Switch 2.
No. PS5, Xbox, PC, including Steam.
Wow.
$40 standard edition, $50 for the deluxe edition, but it's also going to be on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium.
That's huge.
So, but first multiplayer game, first self-published game. It was actually their first live stream that they've ever done at the studio.
Nice.
Are we sure Death Rally was only single player?
I don't know. I'm going off of what they said, the communications director said on live stream. So,
Let me know. Let me know if Death Rally was one or multiplayer, chat. Let me know about that.
But anyways.
Yes.
But it's, 3-player co-op FPS, but you can do missions on your own as well if you want to try to do that.
Yeah, it's marathon.
But it's... but there's no PvP aspect to it. It's all co-op.
I know.
And it's all crazy weapons.
Death Rally for MS-DOS?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that multiplayer?
Well, there were 4 remakes. Just one remake released on other things.
In addition to your normal guns, they're right now, they're 3 gadgets, what they call... what the heck do they call these things? Crisis kits.
Crisis kits.
So there is the splash kit, where you're basically throwing what's essentially water balloons, but without a balloon. Launching water globules at things.
The shotgun looks fun as hell.
And then you can slap a tea kettle that's one of the objects of power kind of thing on there, and then it will basically make the water super hot, and so it's you're doing lava balls essentially. So
cool.
And then there is the fix kit, which you're just running around with a wrench, smashing things with a wrench, but then you can also fix things, and so that you can put the lights back on, or use these chemical showers to heal, and so sometimes you got to fix the shower, sometimes you use the elevator to extract, and sometimes you got to fix the elevator before you can get out.
Yeah, it's cool. There's a lot of ways to interact with the level, it feels like.
Yeah, and then the jump kit.
Go ahead, Anna.
Well, I have information.
Hit us first. Hit us. We'll go back to Blood with the jump kit. It's Remedy related.
Move this B-roll. Okay, so on the Wikipedia, it talks about the freeware re-release that they did in 2009.
Yeah.
And the re-release, it says, quote, the re-release version does not support multiplayer network games because the original code used for IPX networks would have been too expensive to adapt to the Windows architecture, which does imply that the original has some kind of multiplayer.
There it is.
But there's no reference to the multiplayer anywhere else on the thing, so I have no idea.
I could have sworn I played that game multiplayer as a kid, but yeah.
Anyway.
So Remedy's PR person is a liar.
We'll pencil that one in. We'll fact check that in detail by next week heavily.
And the last thing, by the way, if you're looking at this thing and wondering what's happening, this is a monster made out of sticky notes.
So cool.
One of the jobs that you do is to clear the sticky notes.
Yeah,
and
Blood, first and foremost, like being able to just explore the oldest house in this format is so exciting.
But the other kit, the crazy one here that he's got on the footage, this is like, they call it the jump kit. It's like a defibrillator mixed with a pogo stick. So you can electrocute things, but you can also like point it downwards and like jump with it.
Yeah, good mobility.
Yeah.
So Scrooge McDuck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these jobs, so this is called paper chase, the job that they're doing. You have to go in and clear the sticky note. But it's really interesting the way that they've structured these. So Huber, so like, yes, there's a difficulty level, but then there's also what they call a clearance level. And so the clearance level goes 1, 2, 3, and is essentially like how deep you're going to get into this scenario.
Into the level. So there's like 3 stages of each level.
Of each kind of job, right? Yeah. So it's like, you know, the first stage is like, okay, you're going in an area, you clear out the piles of sticky notes, you get these, you collect them on your face, and if you go in a shower, you wash them off, and that counts as getting rid of sticky notes as well. And then you extract. Yeah. But then like you get deeper into like the next one, and then you've got like what they call like the shufflers or whatever, which is like basically you know, bodies made of sticky notes that you've got to fight as well.
Awesome.
And
they are awesome looking.
They replicate in all of that.
Incredible enemy.
And then if you go all the way through all 3, then you get to Sticky Ricky.
Sticky Ricky.
And that was the huge boss monster that you've got to fight. But like a lot of these mechanics, like elemental mechanics, play into each other, right? So you're blasting, one person's blasting the water cannon, or you can like shoot the sprinkler system and get the sprinklers going. And then the person with the electricity kit can like electrocute everything and like just create like, you know, arcing all over the place wherever it's wet. Similarly, the hiss now. They get stronger and more aggressive with heat. The hotter they get, the more dangerous that they are. So you use the water to cool them off.
Dude, I'm throwing fire everywhere. Let's go. I think I'm aggressive.
And then the second one that they showed, they only did up to zone 2 because they didn't want to spoil the end.
Great.
Is hot fix.
Yeah.
Where you're like the furnace is starting to take over.
Some of that, yeah.
And so like you're saying like you've got to like repair the fans and get the fans running to like get the heat out of there. But you've also got to keep, if you're the water guy, you've got to keep your teammates cool because if you're in there long enough, like your suit will just ignite. It's like self-immolation.
I just feel
lots
weird.
of just craziness there.
Yeah. I kind of said it with Marathon. Like, I'm too old for this shit, right? Like, I love Remedy. Are you kidding? They're like top 3 studios of my entire life. Like, I love Control and the Remedy universe. But just I'm feeling the fatigue of the endless multiplayer map grind, you know? Like, how many times, every time I was watching a lot of this thing, and it's like every time I look up, it's just like the same thing, you know?
Says he who plays Fortnite every day.
Fortnite changes dramatically every season.
That's
dramatically.
True. Same gameplay.
Completely different every season.
Yeah,
and
so
what
like
you have for
here,
multiplayer
use
games.
the boombox to like draw them into like one space, so then you can stagger a pile of them at once.
I just get concerned about the longevity of these games.
Sure.
I mean, that kind of a thing, I was thinking about that the other day because it's like...
This is also a $50 game. It's insane. $40 game. That is insane.
Yeah. Because, like, other people have always been the kind of people that stay with a game, you know? Something like this is like, I know already. I'm going to enjoy this for a week and then never play it again.
Yeah.
Like, I'll love it, and we'll stream it, and it'll be great. And then I'll be like, all right,
Yeah, like I am setting myself up to clear all of the content and then hard quit and never play again because I want to see the
Like
story
I love
stuff.
Control. Yeah.
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 I care about the world and the story. I don't give a shit about multiplayer and like leveling up.
Yeah.
And that just makes me wonder why. I mean, everything's goes in circles, but why don't we just go back to focusing on the single player games and adding something like this as a multiplayer mode to that's like it has a finite lifespan. It's not meant to be an endless chase. Mm-hmm. It's meant to be we expect people to play this for the 1 to 3 months after, and then like it might have a small cult following,
right?
That come back to it every now and then. But
Outlast trial still going.
Is that like more sustainable? I don't know. Like I wonder what are developers even thinking about that, or is it just like is there a reason why it's not worth their time? I mean, is it because like it didn't do was it the same problem back in the day where like only a handful ever thrived and the others just seemed like a waste of time, like we say nowadays that it's too saturated, there's too many of these, like only a handful can really succeed, everyone else is just wasting their time. I don't know, but I think you're spot on. Like it's very difficult to see something like this lasting more than like a year at like a high level it probably will launch at. Mm-hmm. And what is that, why do development teams keep trying to shoot for, that unless they have a different goal with this? I mean, maybe they do something different.
I don't get the impression that they're trying to make a Fortnite in any way. I think that
no, not even that.
But that's what I'm saying though. It's and they do have like they did take the time to like put all the bullet points of like, look, all of the stuff that is coming, like the what they
cosmetics,
call them? The requisitions and stuff.
Free,
like
there's free and paid stuff. It's all cosmetics.
But the paid stuff is all cosmetics, and then the other stuff, the updates and stuff. Like it's not going to be limited time. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have the FOMO business going on in there, and all the post-launch content, like the new missions and stuff, is going to be free to everybody.
Yeah, I just think the game has changed for me. 2025 multiplayer, online, internet. Like years ago, that was like a selling point. It was like, whoa, multiplayer! I can play with my friends online. Cool. Now it's just like there are so many games. We talk about it all the time that the idea of another endless multiplayer game is like a threat.
That's what I'm saying is like I'm not sure that they're designing this to be an endless thing. It's it's just an interesting side project to make a multiplayer game.
It's alarming when a game's not even out yet and they're already talking about content dropping in 2026 Bloodworth, which they did.
Sure.
So that already sounds like a threat to me. It's like
I mean, I think that's the name of the game with a game like this is you have to show people the roadmap to some extent.
That there's going to be a reason to stick around to start it all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise people won't buy it in the first place.
One thing I think is interesting too about this that it sounded like they were going to talk about more, and then I think they might have forgotten, or I don't know what happened, but is that they were saying that like you don't have to worry too much about like if somebody is like constantly playing it and then you want to play with your friends and it feels like there's a mismatch because
that's good.
When you're close together, like you see how you have the two there, that's like, and you can see like where your teammates are like in relative to like where you are. And so it's like if you're close enough proximity, then you have like this shared shield as well as your perks. There's perks that get shared. Yeah. So if you have been playing a lot and you have a bunch of perks, but your friend hasn't, he still benefits from your perks. Yeah. But that was something
affinity range. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, encouraging you to stick together because you really need to stick together in this game. Yeah. When the horde comes. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's not something that I would. I never put more than a couple of weeks into any kind of multiplayer games, even like Halo or something or F-Zero 99. Like it was like 4 or 5 weeks, and and it was like I loved it, and I was obsessed with it, but then I hadn't really gone back to it since. Yeah,
I just think the price is all. We talked about Marathon heavily last week, and the price of it. And
how much is Marathon?
We don't know yet, but it sounds like it's going to be in the same kind of $40 range, maybe $30 range.
Yeah, so it's
maybe
just
$50 range.
I find it. I am very fascinated personally by the consumer's take on paid multiplayer games in 2025, with not only so many single player games but also so many free to play multiplayer games. There's just so much competition, so much to play, so much to do,
that's
so
where
much going on.
why vending
think-
on Game Pass and
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus Day
There are
One
those.
makes a big
Huge difference.
because
Huge
that kind of thing is where if it is really good and people are digging it on there, then the people that aren't on those services are like, well, I want to get in and play with my friends.
Yeah.
Like it's very a fascinating moment for this industry with multiplayer stuff, because I feel like people are, even me, like it's Remedy, it's Control, but even me, there's just this little skepticism, this little nervous energy anytime a game like this is shown.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I mean, you're right, Blood. I was like, what they're going for. You clarified, but like, I'm kind of curious if like going for something that's like not really going for like a true like live service game, not going for FOMO, not going for like battle passes and stuff. Sorry, I read the quote again, and I was like, yeah, it's something that's meant to be easy to pick up and play, and that's how they're trying to like. That's what they want to do, because I think that will actually lead to better player engagement and player retainment. And I'm curious if that will work, because everyone else is trying to do the other thing, which is endless FOMO, endless like you must stay a part of this. And it's is it really is this something that will break that mold and be like, you can do a different way? There's a different approach. Like there's a wide umbrella for like online multiplayer games, and you don't need to keep chasing like this trend that has like sunk a lot of companies, a lot of projects. Even didn't they have one that was a code name one, right? What was the one they canceled?
Yes, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, it got pulled. The plug got pulled on it or whatever. Yeah. They had that too, but at least
Codename Kestrel?
Kestrel.
Thank you. That was it. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
They had a lot of things in the works at the same time, so it's hard for me to keep straight. Like, which code name was this game before it got a name?
Yeah.
Josh Sullivan. I gotta shout this out, because there's some funny things that they do lore wise. Because like there are certain there's
there's gonna be so many lore references.
Yeah.
It's
So
insane.
like it just
That's what I'm playing for.
Exactly, and that's what they hope.
just a guy named Josh Sullivan, but the named characters like that are like, they're so extreme that they put you in lockdown within a lockdown.
Yeah.
So until you take that guy out, like, no, you can't extract.
That's funny.
You got to take this guy down.
Yeah.
And they also made a point, like at the beginning, of saying that, like, like you've been in lockdown for 6 years now.
Jeez.
And these.
That was a stunning revelation in Alan Wake 2, where I was like, wait, they're still in lockdown?
Yeah.
5 years later?
Yeah.
What the hell?
And they were
Gone
saying
silent.
that these aren't trained soldiers or anything. Like, these are secretaries and middle managers.
That's funny. Yeah.
Just volunteering to go out there and clean up the mess every now and then.
Well, that is FBC Firebreak. I'm a little nervous just because of the type of game it is. Not everything needs to be for everyone, as we all know. We will see how it holds up. If anyone is going to do it right, I'm putting some money down on Remedy for sure. And like Isla knows, the oldest house is a hell of a place to play. You know?
I love that location, and I love Jesse Faden, and I want more of that. So I will be playing this for that, and I will be just kind of slogging through the actual gameplay.
I'll carry you.
Thank you.
What's good too is, and the reason that this doesn't offend me at all, is because we're still getting Control 2 and Max Payne 1/2 remake.
Oh yeah.
So we still have
those,
both of those cooking. So again, like I preface this is just a little side dish.
Yeah.
Side game. So yeah, we will see. FBC Firebreak. The question is, Isla, as we move on to the next segment, will there be any massive Remedy universe implications in Firebreak?
I imagine there will be like, I wouldn't be surprised if it kind of like bridges the gap and
Yeah.
like tells us what's been happening the last bunch of times since Control and
That would
before
be
Control 2.
so great.
Yeah, I mean, the
Like,
whole
that
thing,
kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that.
in addition to doing jobs, though, like your quote unquote currency is documents. Like
Yeah.
you're
They love their
trying to
documents.
collect as many documents to bring back out as you can.
Remedy
And when you go
Universe
down, you drop your
lore
documents.
as the
Yeah.
carrot on the stick is better than any kind of skin or cosmetic item. Like, just give me the info.
Screaming Argonaut asks if there'll be a musical segment. That would be so fascinating in a repeatable multiplayer game. If you get like, if they made
Ashtray
like 8
Maze.
songs and like
Ashtray
you get
Maze.
different songs per.
There, Hubert, did you get to the
Yes.
part where like the safe room was like on the ceiling?
I might have seen it. I was like,
Yeah, so like
I saw the first
there's some
half,
things
yeah.
like that is sort of Ashtray Maze-ish in
So
how some of these
cool.
levels get built because every once in a while there's a safe room that you get to, and that's where you'll respawn if you get in there and activate it, and that's where you get documents and stuff too.
yeah.
But this one was like on the ceiling, and so like they had to like pogo up into the safe room
That's tough. That's awesome. Love that.
off of desks and things.
Awesome. Rooting for you, Remedy. Always. All right. Next up. Always one of my favorite times. The sales report for March.
Yeah. From Matt Pescatella of Circana.
Yep. These rankings are based on US dollars
Yeah.
in March. $599 US dollars. US consumer spending on video game hardware, Bloodworth. Content and accessories declined 6%.
Still going down.
Compared to what is YA year
Year ago.
Year over year.
year
Yeah,
ago
Yeah,
to 4.7 billion. So still a $1 billion industry, billions. The only growth segments were non-mobile subscriptions plus 11% and console digital premium downloads plus 12%.
Console digital
So,
premium.
Non-mobile subs going up 11%, I think, is pretty noteworthy.
Non like mobile game subs.
Yeah. So like Game Pass, PS
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, Fortnite Crew, like all that stuff. Just really interesting.
Gotcha. Sorry, because I would say so would game subscriptions be in there as well?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Like if you pay a sub.
I don't.
Oh,
I don't
like
know
Final Fantasy or
100%
something?
for sure.
I
But
don't think that's reported in there, but
think
like
they
other
might be.
games that like have like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Like
This
Fortnite
isn't-
Crew I think of, and I feel like that would be one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Just curious. Anyway, sorry to derail there.
Hardware spending fell 25% when compared to a year ago to 286 million.
Just wait for next month. Just wait for next month's
that is
report.
about to boost, dude.
You're about to see a giant spike.
Boost it.
Yeah, turbo boost.
Holy crap.
Dear Lord.
This is the lowest March hardware spending total since 2019. This doesn't ring any alarm bells to me because people are content with their base consoles. They don't need the pros
Right.
or the OLEDs or whatever. And the install base now has
Yeah, we're pretty
we're
mid-cycle.
deep. Yeah, we're pretty deep in. So that's just what that means to me. I know the PS5 Pro like kind of underperformed a little bit. I know it did still really well, but I don't think it moved like gangbusters. And clearly because 25% less, it didn't drive that.
Right.
Digital only SKUs have accounted for 75% of Xbox Series and 50% of PlayStation 5 hardware units sold year to date.
So digital only. So yeah. So you're thinking now more and more people don't even have disk drives.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now you skipped the part where you're supposed to throw to me. So don't
Throw it to
peek
you,
at the
Blood.
list.
There it is.
Throw it to you.
I was like, wow, you let that go for
Sorry.
3 minutes,
Yep.
Blood.
Take it away, Blood.
Because we don't want you to get spoiled on the list.
Yes.
So
Good. It's protecting me because I love this. I love the excitement.
Fever.
Yeah.
there are 7 new games
Seven
on
new
the
games.
list in March.
7.
Definitely some Huber favorites.
Definitely Assassin's Creed is there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Assassin's
Oh.
Creed number 1.
Number one.
Instantly made it number
one.
2 for the year so far. So out of the first
Oh,
3
wow.
months. Yeah.
I checked. I have so many thoughts about this game and everything about this. And like how important the beginnings of games are. Because right when this game came out, the hype was there. There was a lot of hype. Everyone was loving it, myself included. I was head over heels for that first 10, 15 hours of Assassin's Creed. I have dropped that game like a rock. I am still not even halfway through probably. And I was looking at the trophy for Act 2.
Right.
Less than 10% of players have even finished Act 2. I feel like the retention for that game
Interesting.
has fallen off. But here it is. It doesn't even matter because it's number 1 and number 2
Well,
in the year.
retention is totally different. Yeah, lots of people. But I think what's curious about something like Assassin's Creed, especially when you look at Valhalla and the long tail it had, is with all of these games coming in flavor of the week, that it is a game where I think people will pick at it.
Get back to it.
Go back
slowly.
here a little bit, here and there, a little bit there.
That's a good perspective.
Especially because it's just so big and massive.
Yeah.
It's rushing it is not going to be a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't want to just barrel through that game.
Yeah.
If you're ready for a break, take a break, come back in a week. Yeah.
I definitely have cooled on it heavily. I need to go back and finish it and have my final thoughts, but I definitely got fatigued by it
Yeah.
for sure.
We got 6 more. We got some Huber games. We got some Damiani games. We got some Isla games.
Streets of Rage. No, just kidding.
Wait, what?
Isla Games, does that mean Blueprints is on there?
Blueprints!
No.
That'd be this
soon,
next
right?
one, right?
Blueprints.
I don't think
guess
we're
one of
off
them
radio
is the
reports,
game I'm playing. I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, but I'm curious where it ended up.
It's at 17. 17 with no digital sales counting, but yeah.
I mean, it's the hardest sell of of all the games, so I guess that it made it.
Yeah.
It's also end of Switch.
How about
life,
Avowed?
so.
Interestingly, no Avowed.
Oh.
So I think it's fully dropped off.
Oh. I know we heard that we
oh.
briefly touched on it, but just the Avowed and the Oblivion comparisons, so interesting.
How did Split Fiction do?
Oh,
5th place.
nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Really, really solid.
That's so awesome, especially because you can share the game, So
Yeah.
shooting themselves
good-
out of the
good-
sails
good
there
argument
for the people.
Yeah, and the stuff that's
Alright.
ahead of it, it's all gangbusters too.
Yeah.
Whoa. All right.
Monster
I'm
Hunter
blanking on other stuff.
has gotta be
Oh, I
there.
mean that's not new, but
So it's
that's
not
gotta
new,
be
but
in
yeah,
there, right?
it's still in 3rd place.
Yep.
So
Yeah, March
couple of years for still
Alien
Oh,
versus
where's-
Predator.
Dude.
new games.
I know.
Predator Badlands.
I know, bro.
Too soon.
I know.
Next month. Next
I
month
know.
they'll get the bump. They'll get the bump. The nod. You saw it. I saw Max pointed out the
Yeah,
nod.
dude.
It's the AV. Yeah, it's sick.
Predator Badlands.
The
The new movie?
This year. Yeah.
Oh shit! I missed.
But
it.
it's got. Don't.
Watch
I'm
the
not saying
trailer.
shit.
Watch the trailer. It's
The
trailer is a
closely.
minute long,
Look
and the movie doesn't
closely.
come out until November. It's definitely safe to watch for sure.
Okay.
Look.
Yeah, safe to
It's,
watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's got stuff in there.
Yeah, sick.
Crazy theory stuff is happening. It's fun.
What else?
What about Minecraft? Because of the movie, right?
Oh, Minecraft.
Minecraft's
Did it get a
interesting,
boost?
but I think it's too early for the boost.
Also,
it's
GTA
Okay,
5.
too early.
holding solid at 11.
GTA
It's
5.
Minecraft.
Okay, hold on. solid.
GTA 5 is at 12. Because I think they're
battle
getting
is on.
they're getting those digital sales now. So,
Yep.
So they're
every
charting now.
month, dude. Every month.
But
GTA
you're
5, dude.
this obsessed man over here cannot even pick one of the most obvious ones.
Whoa.
Obsessed.
I know. What?
Completely
There
obsessed.
are so many freaking games.
MLB The Show
Oh,
25
baseball. Yeah.
Oh,
in second
There
place.
you go.
Oh,
Of course.
23% higher than last year.
wow.
Yeah. Doing really good.
Do you
That Otani Buzz.
I was gonna say Otani Buzz, and I was serious. Baseball, I feel like is on the rise again. It's on the rise. People are more into baseball now.
Yeah.
It's getting better, dude. It's getting bigger, getting more popular.
Yeah.
Baseball's back.
Sounded like
The other big sports one was WWE
Yes.
at 4th place.
Nice. Wow.
At 9th
want to root
place,
for that, but I can't.
Bleach Rebirth of Souls.
Bleach. Okay. What about Mario Party?
Mario Party.
Is there any Mario?
I don't think so. No Marios. No. And then the
Mario.
the other one.
We're waiting for Switch 2, Damian. Everyone's just waiting. We're in a holding pattern.
But what? Oh, Mario Kart. Duh.
Yeah, we're in a holding
It's like, no, there's
pattern.
no Mario. Oh, there is Mario.
The other new one
Yeah.
is the Suikoden 1 and 2.
Oh!
HD Remastered
Oh, shit,
18.
really?
18?
Oh, that's been out already.
Wow,
That
good
is
job.
Isla. That is a feel-good win right there.
That's a win, dude.
That is big time. That is sick.
Should also factor in all the 2 sales they would have had if they had like had an affordable version for like 20 years. give it a little bit of a bump.
There are so many freaking games this year already. We are in April. How is this even possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I feel like this is the year of like 8.5s, dude, just ruling the world. Like every game is good. Every single game coming out is like,
it's
that
pretty
is a good
insane
game.
how
That is
many-
a good
yeah.
game. That is a good game. Like,
And yeah, so the rest of the list is a lot of your expected heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Guys that don't want to leave. 20th place, EA Sports College Football 25. 19th place, Spider-Man 2. 18th place was Suikoden. 17th place was Xenoblade. 16th place is Elden Ring.
Oh,
Crazy,
Elden Ring's
yeah.
still in there.
15th is Madden. 14th, Red Dead Redemption 2.
yes.
Oh.
13th, EA Sports Football Club. 12th, GTA 5. 11th, Minecraft. 10th is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 hanging in there.
Nice. Hell of a game.
9th is Bleach. 8th is
Power
NBA
of anime.
2K25. 7 is PGA Tour 2K25. 6 is Call of Duty.
Anime and sports.
5 is Split Fiction. 4 is WWE. 3 is Monster Hunter. 2 is MLB. 1 is Assassin's Creed.
Wow.
On the monthly active user side of things, both Xbox and PlayStation during March, Fortnite was on top. Dragon Age Veilguard got into 10th thanks to that PlayStation Plus inclusion.
That's right. God, that too. Oh my God.
That
there's
came
so
up from
many games.
103.
Can't handle it. I cannot handle it.
Number 1 on Steam, Repo,
Of course.
up from
Oh, yeah,
93.
Repo.
Of course. Of course. Not surprising.
Monthly active users, and then Fragpunk debuted at number 8 on Steam. And then on the mobile side of things, according to Sensor Tower, Pokemon Go saw a 42% increase in consumer spending, thanks to the Unova Tour, and Candy Crush Saga saw a 12% growth, despite everything in general being down on the mobile side right now.
Yeah.
So there it is.
Everything in general being down on the mobile side. Interesting.
Yeah, just for this month.
Do we think
Mobile decline.
Yeah, do we think like Steam Deck and Switch has an impact on mobile sales at all?
No, that's. Oh, you mean
No.
In general? Like people
very
people-
little.
Okay.
Very little. I don't
think so.
Yeah, I don't think
Guess
it's a
not.
very different market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Awesome. We love sales reports. We love video game budgets. We love to know these things. It would just make it so much clearer too, like, what's the budget of FBC Firebreak? What are we talking here? You know?
Sure.
Just these studio spin-off type things. Like if they're
But
making,
that's the thing too, where it's like, okay, a movie, it's like the distribution costs after the movie is done is peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with FBC Firebreak, it's like, well, it's gonna be an ongoing cost to keep making that game for
Yeah.
however long until they get bored of it and we get bored of it. You know, it's like
we have got more to come. It's just a great week for games. There's just so much to play. Whatever you're doing, like there's something to play out there. If you are vibing out in the den in Blueprints, you're having a good time. If you're chasing down the Brotherhood, the assassin, what is it? The Assassin Brotherhood in Elder Scrolls?
Yeah.
Chasing them down, that's awesome. There's so much going on. It feels good to be alive and playing video games. And we've got more to come. If you've been enjoying this show so far, please take a second to like, subscribe, ring the bell, tell all your friends, tell everyone you know. This is the place to be to just talk about video games. Different you throw me for a loop here.
what do you mean?
You throw me for a loop here. There's like I'm telling you.
You just and
Behind
now
the
a
scenes-
word
I'm
from our
telling you-
sponsors.
no, I'm
It's not
telling you
that
right
hard.
now. I'm telling you right now. Hear me out. Hear me out. Blood.
If it's gray, don't read it. That's it.
It's almost unreadable. It's so
there-
dark. I've made it so dark.
But it's a different shade of gray. So I'm giving
feel like we're
it's
gonna
like
have to,
a different shade.
We need a shot
There's no
color
shade
for
of gray
Huber on the
that you are using.
like shouting in his headset like, all right, Huber, now do this.
I swear it's a different shade. I was like, well,
It's a different shade because you would get mixed up, so I made it almost black.
okay. All right. And now we're in for our sponsors.
When we were young, we used to dream of being anything: an astronaut, a president, prince or princess. For me, it was tornado chaser, paleontologist, largely influenced by the movies I had just seen. But as you get older, your dreams change. They focus on, less on running the world or being the next great tornado chaser and more on how you can take your skills and ideas and turn them into something real, something that you can see and touch. Instead of dreaming of going to space or owning your own castle, maybe you start dreaming of owning your own business. You'll need a website, a payment system, a logo, a way to advertise to new customers. It can all be overwhelming and confusing, but thankfully, that is where today's sponsor, Shopify, comes in. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. What if I can't design a website? Shopify has got you from the get-go with beautiful, ready-to-go templates to match your brand's style. What if I need a hand? Get help with everyday tasks like enhancing product images, writing product descriptions, or generating discount codes with Shopify's AI tools created for commerce. What if people haven't heard about my brand? Shopify helps you find your customers with easy-to-run email and social media campaigns. What if I get stuck? Shopify's always around to share advice with their award-winning 24/7 customer support. Turn those dreams into and give them the best shot at success with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allies. Go to shopify.com/allies today. Shopify.com/allies. Today's episode is supported by Dum-Dums and Dragons, a podcast where professional improvisers and comedians play Dungeons and Dragons for the first time. It's like Lord of the Rings if everyone was an idiot. With storytelling from award-winning game designer and a cast made up of Second City-trained improvisers. Shout out Chicago, dude. Dum-Dums and Dragons is a show that will make you laugh, and it might even make you cry. Dum-Dums and Dragons has been downloaded more than 6 million times and charted as the number 2 fiction podcast in these United States. Dum-Dums and Dragons is so good, it's been featured on the official Dungeons and Dragons podcast, Dragon Talk. Its trio of central heroes are the zaniest and most lovable crew you can join, featuring Quinny, a thief who broke out of prison by serving his full sentence, Alan, a wizard who constantly forgets magic has consequences, and their mutual friend Butthole, a cleric to the goddess Moonhammer, who the other two think he made up. Dum-Dums and Dragons is the perfect show to start if you're curious about how D&D works, and if you're a veteran player, you'll have a blast, as this cast quickly picks up the rules and their wild adventures begin. New episodes are released every Monday. I've listened to a few of these, and they're a lot of fun. Gotta say, shout out, first episode ever. There's a character whose last name is Falstaff, and having started a show called Falstaff, that resonated with me. But yeah, this is really fun. If you've been missing us playing D&D, the vibes are pretty chill in this. I think that you will feel right at home. So, check it out. You can listen to Dum-Dums and Dragons anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Our thanks to Dum-Dums and Dragons for their support. Check it out.
And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you so much. Urgh. All right, now it is time for the main event. This is an action-packed episode, and we are about to reach critical mass on Clair Obscur Expedition 33 Bloodworth. I'm going to throw it to you.
Yeah.
I have played a couple hours, and immediately this game feels special. You're further into it.
Yeah.
Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, because
wow.
Yeah, we were talking, and Heber basically just got through the part that I had played in the preview. Mm-hmm. So he is now caught up to where I actually first started getting hyped, and I'm like, oh, man.
Yes.
I am now, I would say I'm most likely like a third of the way in. I'm like 15 hours in right now, and I'm going around doing side stuff. I'm fighting bosses that you're probably not supposed to fight right now, and all that kind of thing. Which is, I think, I'm going to get into that a little bit more too. That's because I think that's a really good strength of this game, is the way they let you approach combat in different ways.
Yeah. Dude, the combat is insane. Oh my god.
But yeah, so it's also very interesting, and this is a very Final Fantasy thing too, is that the game starts off so heavy.
Yeah.
So heavy, introducing this idea of, everybody dying according to whatever numbers on the pillar, and people are like, actually, like, they have like a tradition where, they give flowers to people who are about to die.
Yeah.
And then, when this wave of people, and there's like people like taking kids to orphanages and things like that. It's just like so intense.
So intense.
And then, the expedition goes out there after that happens to try to take down the Paintress, because it's like, it's their last year. And then you get out there and just all this craziness goes down, and like you're pretty much wiped out, and there's just a couple of you left, and you're just trying to just keep going. But then you get the goofy stuff, and then here, like you find these like hidden mimes, that are super hard.
They're so hard. I was like, what the
like
hell?
Their version of like Cactuars.
Basically, yeah. And then you beat them, and you get the costume that they're wearing. So you see the baguette costume that she's wearing right there. And so essentially the way the mimes work though is that like they have this wall that they put up when you start, where like they're really shielded, and eventually when you break their shield, then you like start like doing real damage. Yeah. But they also have like really strong attacks too.
Yeah. I really want to interject real quickly. I want to say that the active battle system in this, like the parrying and the dodges and the QTEs, I think are masterfully balanced.
Yeah.
They are hard to land almost every time, really getting those parries and dodges down. And if you play on normal, it's not essential. It helps a lot if you can nail those, but they're never a foregone conclusion that you're just gonna like exploit this and get it perfects every time. Obviously you'll watch a stream and someone will be like, no hit run Expedition 33 parry every single attack ever. But like for the general player, I think these are really, really finely tuned to make them really meaningful and matter every single time they go down.
Yeah. I think it's maybe like one of the best examples of using this active time system, because there's been plenty of games that do it. Like Sea of Stars has done it really well.
Think of Grandia.
You've got Paper Mario,
ATV or whatever.
Shuhei was talking about Legend of Dragoon, the Had It, Mario RPG. But there are a lot of
Paper
times, like,
Mario, of course.
Like even Paper Mario, like a lot of times I feel like that kind of drags down the pace. A lot of the times where I'm just like, okay, I got to do the thing, and it's just like, and you do it every time. Whereas with this, it's like I feel like there's such a good amount of variation to it all, and nuance to it all, and like there's even a tooltip that's like, hey, look, if you're having a hard time with the timing on something, the dodge window is bigger than the parry window.
Yeah, dodges are easier.
Dodge first, kind of get the timing down, and then
try to parry.
Then try to get into.
Because if you land if you parry every attack in a combat encounter, you do a counter attack.
Yeah.
So it's the risk versus reward. If you can nail the parries every time, you'll do.
Yeah. So and it depends, because that's the other thing too that I really like about this game is that there's a really great variety in the number of enemies, and like I think you already see that in the part that you're in.
Yeah.
But like because you went from like the glade, the meadows and stuff, and you saw like one group of enemies, but then you get into like the sort of pseudo underwater crazy area.
And this is only a couple hours in.
And you get the guys with the anchors and the guys with the mines and all that. But then like you're about to get to another area with a completely different set of enemies, and so they all have these different combat animations to learn and pay attention to, and to keep you engaged. And I feel like I was doing this optional like tournament area.
Sick.
And,
love an optional tournament, dude.
I've had this experience so many times, Huber, where like I get in there, and at first I'm like, okay, these guys are too strong for me. This is probably something I'll come back to later, right? There's some big guy on the map, and I'm like, oh, that guy just like one-shotted me or whatever. I'm probably not going to be able to beat him.
Love that.
But if you like stick with it and you like start learning that parry timing, and then you start learning their weaknesses,
own anyone.
then it's not quite anyone. There's a couple
Yeah.
that I'm like, okay, no, this guy definitely will not be able to.
Yeah,
but there
'cause
have
you'd
been
have to hit him like a
but
million
there have been a
times.
lot of others that like I thought that at first, and then like I just took a little bit of time to learn it, and then got that timing down, and then it feels like literally like Punch Out. You know, it's like you're just
Yeah.
getting those moves down. It's
No.
like, okay, he's got this tell.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously, this game, I get so into the combat that when I do a dodge, sometimes I will like my whole body will be like, "Whoa." Like I will get so into it that my whole body moves because I'm like so invested in the dodging and parrying. It's like, oh.
And then it's because there's this guy in the tournament where it's like, okay, I'm having a hard time because he'll do these fake outs on me. He'll do the little thing, and then I'll dodge, and he'll hit me as soon as I come back. But then I was like messing with it, and I was like, oh, anytime that like he's like actually gonna throw a punch, he does a grunt first.
The sound is key to
Yeah, yeah.
dodge for sure.
So-
Because someone was doing like a little rock move underground, and it was like bum bum bum. So then
Yeah.
I was like bum bum dodge, like using
Same thing
those
with like
audio.
spell timing. Sometimes like you just pick up on like
Yes.
when is that gonna like climax, and
Totally.
you
The
hit it.
music, dude.
Yes.
Holy.
Yeah, you just got done with a part with some really great music. Yep.
Oh my God. Who does the music for this, Blood? Do we know? God,
I don't think it's somebody that like we know from the past. Like,
Dude,
I think it's one of their
so good.
their team members. I don't know.
It
off
is
the top of my
so
head.
good.
But so that's the thing. Is like we're just talking about how great. Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. This is the guy I was countering. This is the like optional little tournament area.
Nice.
But you can even see like with the characters, each character has their own mechanics,
Which is so great, and it really, really changes. It makes each combat encounter feel so fresh because each time you're a different person, you're approaching it from a different angle. Whereas in, something like Dragon Quest, even, it'll be
Right.
like, okay, I'm just gonna like attack. I'll use my swoosh. I'll use my heal. Like zap. Like you're using kind of the same mechanics for your whole party, whereas this, like, each character really feels unique.
Yeah, and then some of these enemies too. Like, so these guys that are in this area before you get to the Gestural Village, like a lot of them have like weak points, and so that's another thing that you can do is like you push the left trigger, you pull out your gun, and like you aim at weak points on enemies.
Definitely get some Persona and Metaphor vibes here, for sure.
But it's
sure.
like using your gun uses up your action points. So then if you use your gun, then you can't use some of your like bigger skills and things like that. And then there's a lot of things that sort of like you're setting up like a sequence of things. So it's like you can mark an enemy, and then the next person, like if an enemy's marked, then their skill will do this extra thing on top of it. And some of the skills, like at first, don't seem like that big of a deal. Like with Mael, she had a thing where she has a skill where it basically like takes out an enemy's shield. And so when an enemy has a shield up, it basically eats an attack.
Yeah.
Like you will do no damage, but you'll get rid of that shield.
Yeah.
But this thing will get rid of all of their shields. And I start fighting these guys, Hubert, that will like do these attacks. Well, they will stick up like 8 shields. I'm like, now this is where I use that move.
Yes.
Right. And that's another part of like the build out is because you have these skill trees where you can learn a lot of different abilities, and some of them are tied to different elements and stuff like that. But you can only equip 6 skills at a time.
Yeah.
So like really like paying
Tricky.
attention to that, and then the weapon system actually pulls a play out of Dark Souls because your weapons will scale
Scaling
according
for
to
sure,
your
for sure.
stats.
Yep. D&D.
But then they'll also leveled up weapons.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes like, oh, I'd like this weapon, but I just beat this enemy that like raised this other weapon of like 3 levels.
Yeah.
So there's just so much complexity
There's
to
a
really
lot.
dig into.
There
and
is
like
a
even
lot.
the like, you know, I just got the 4th party member.
Yeah.
And like, she's got her whole other thing going on where like, you do this one thing and it applies stacks, and you do this other thing and it consumes stacks, and then like
there's some of those mechanics are.
There's a lot of stuff there where it's like it's hard to like even explain even when I understand it because it's just like there's a lot. But again, it's that back and forth of like just trying to like think out a strategy and like what's my setup, and then if I set it up right, where it's like okay, I apply these stacks and I use the weakness, and then boom, 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 I just took out that guy
so awesome.
that otherwise is not, you know.
The combat is incredible. I throw it to you, Damiani. When I look at you in the eyes, I think of RPGs. I think of your love for them. This game is you, dude. This game, if this is Damiani, I don't always do this with you. I try not to bully and pressure you. You need to play this game, dude. This is you.
I mean, I do have an interest in it. It's
Yeah.
just I had never played Xenoblade Chronicles X before in its entirety, and it's like a glaring omission in a series I
you
really
love
like.
Xenoblade for sure.
And it is a
brick of bricks.
I am approaching 70 hours, and I like took a gander at the chapters on there, and I was like, oh God,
You're like
wait,
halfway.
what? I was like, shit. I was like, God damn it. It's like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
This
sounds
is so
but
you,
it sounds like this
Damiani.
is a shorter
Relevant.
game too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You will
Like,
love this so much.
this is this is something I plan to get to at some point
Yeah.
this year for sure.
Yeah, definitely
just,
for you, man.
I mean, even when I just first saw it, like the visuals, like I was like, damn, like it was like it was like, you know, attention grabbing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it was like as extreme, like the most extreme a game gripped me on visuals, but also was like in a genre that I'm like already really into was Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah.
When that was first shown off, I was like, oh my God, I need to play this game immediately. When is this coming out?
Yeah.
And this was like, oh, turn-based RPG, but with like kind of like, you know, QTEs and reactive kind of like button inputs for like parrying and dodging. It's like, and it looks like this. This looks pretty good. I mean, in the back of my mind, I mean, a lot of people have been thinking it who are into like Final Fantasy is like, damn, why isn't Final Fantasy a little bit like this? You know,
Yeah.
why did they like make a game like this? What have they been doing for a while? You know, it's obviously they've been like working hard and stuff, but this is definitely like a caliber of game that people have been like clamoring for, and someone stepped in and is filling that void. And if it reminds people of like, oh, this is what I loved about Final Fantasy, but like it doesn't have to be called Final Fantasy. It can be called whatever, and this is great that they're doing that. The thing I like haven't really like got a chance to do is like how highly you spoke of like the music, because when you think of especially like an RPG like this, you think of like, oh man, that soundtrack, especially when like a boss battle happens, like, oh, it's gotta like kick in, right? Yeah. So like I'm kind of like looking forward to hearing
The thing
hearing that music from
kind
this.
of blowing
Yeah,
me away
dude.
though with the music, Damiani, is that like most RPGs in this style, like most JRPG style games, right? Like you do get kind of like this you get used to like a couple of tracks that you just hear over and over and over. Mm-hmm. And with this, like when I get into new areas, that like I've got like whole new songs and like even like different styles and
Different
vibes
vibes.
of things. Yeah, and it's like there was stuff in that water area that like I really really loved, and then I get into the next area and
it's
like
gone.
this is entirely different, and
Yeah.
it's been really really cool musically. One of the other things too with the party setup.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen a lot of people do. I'm curious if you remember any other games doing this. But so now like okay, I've got, you can only have 3 characters in your party at a time.
Yeah.
And so I went up against a big boy, and when he took out all 3 of them, then it's like reserve team.
Oh yeah.
Your other person, my
for
other
sure.
person jumps in and it's like, okay, I can finish him off.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
was
mechanic. What did that, Damiani?
something recently just
Yeah,
did that.
I know for a fact.
I mean,
Maybe
like,
Dragon Quest
there's
11.
been a few games
Dragon
that have
Quest
done that, but
11 might
like
do
something
it.
recently just did it. It's on like tip of my tongue.
Dragon Quest
that I played.
11 might do it, if I remember correctly.
What?
I might be misremembering. Dragon Quest 11,
Was it Dragon Quest 11?
maybe. I'm gonna shoot that one to chat. Don't correct me. Just tell me.
Yeah, but I mean, there definitely been games that like do that. I thought you were gonna say like your party comp like affects like something else, like positioning or something, which was like kind of what
positioning isn't really a thing.
Vanillaware game just did the tactics SRPG.
Oh, Unicorn Overlord.
Unicorn Overlord, where your formations like really impact.
Isla, did you finish that?
Haven't finished it yet.
You're deep in it, I remember.
Yeah, I'm like probably more than halfway, but I just got waylaid by everything else.
Yeah,
but I
so
love
many.
that game. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Or even like in more like a traditional way, in a like traditional RPG, the original DS version of Ni no Kuni had that in their battle system about how you stacked your characters would impact how you could defend against an attack or how you could like counter an attack, which was a pretty cool idea.
Shout out, the composer is Laureen Testard.
Nice.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, but like just watching the gameplay, like it's definitely taking a lot of inspiration things. It's definitely doing the Persona and now Team Zero teams, like the zoom in, like the shift thing when you like choose the actions and like from the menu, it's doing that like sudden shift.
Big
That's
Persona
definitely
vibes.
like Persona's
Metaphor
MO
and
right
Persona,
there.
definitely.
The button interface looks very much like what was it? Lost Odyssey? I want to say a little bit.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people
like,
who are saying this reminds them of Lost Odyssey.
yeah, like I'm seeing a lot of Lost Odyssey in this as well. So I mean, but like that's fine. Like the thing is, like as you always say, Huber, is how long has it been since we got a game that is just like that? That is just like these games, and we're not getting anyone who's making something at least at like this caliber and this budget and like this visual fidelity. That it's something that it's good for this to exist.
It really
even
is.
if it's not 100% like nothing's gonna be 100% original, but like who cares if it's borrowing some ideologies from like
'Cause it
other
makes it its
proven
own,
hits
for sure.
like it still clearly looks like its own thing for sure.
Yeah, and like a lot of the like visual design is so different and interesting, and like I really
And Charlie Cox VO, dude.
I like the
Wait, what?
Yep,
Yeah,
he's
Charlie
the lead,
Cox?
dude.
Charlie Cox is in there, and
10 out of 10.
Andy Serkis is in there.
Charlie Cox is
Yo.
so good.
Ben Starr's in there. Jennifer
Yeah.
English.
Oh wow,
Hell of a cast.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Dang.
This is the overworld here.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
so
So I just
Overworld
got
now
the.
looks realistic.
Do you remember from the trailers the overworld guy Esquier? He's like this big. He looks like a big like stuffed animal with like a wooden mask. He's like this ancient immortal being.
Love ancient immortal
But he's just like
beings.
he's just got such a funny, quirky personality. And it's like, and it's clear he's basically all powerful, but he's just like, I'm just lazy.
Whatever.
So like now, like all I can do is like run around and like bust up rocks that are clearing, like blocking off certain paths.
Fun.
But like apparently, if I find his favorite rocks or whatever, then he'll be able to swim, and then he'll be able to fly. And it's like, okay, well, go look for your rocks, man. And he sends you over to like his neighbor next door to him in the cave, and like you have this argument with this like turtle guy. And it's just, that's what I mean. It's like on the one hand, it can be really dark in a lot of ways, and on the other hand, it just gets so wild and goofy. One thing that like I will say was like a bit of a downside, but also again on that a lighter attempt to be lighter. I did like a thing on the beach that was trying to be like an Astrobot level.
Yeah.
Like you're on like these like walking across logs and jumping across spinning platforms and stuff like that. And it was not great. It was like a lot of the traversal and stuff feels really good in other parts, but that little obstacle course, it didn't.
Yeah, little hiccups here. But I'm not sold on some of the UI stuff with like the pictos and stuff. Just kind of like swapping those in and out and equipping them and like leveling them up and then using the like that stuff. Just
I think
like
there's a couple of things going on with pictos.
it just feels
think
weird.
The UI is definitely a little tricky to like read, but I also think I'm kind of split on pictos because pictos essentially for you to understand that they're like accessories that you equip, and so you equip one of them and it will give you an ability. So like when you shoot your gun, it will cause a burn effect on the enemy. They'll start burning, right? So
Okay.
and a lot of the pictos are like super useful. And then when you've had it equipped for like 4 battles, then you will learn that ability, and anyone can equip the ability.
Oh, okay.
But it costs
yeah,
points
but it
to
costs-
the ability.
Yeah.
So it's like
That's
it reminds me
pretty
of
standard.
weapons
That's
and
standard.
combos.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of RPGs
But
do that. Yeah,
just-
that's pretty standard.
But it also has
the UI with it and like it's just
I
it's just
get
a little
it. It's a
cumbersome.
little-
that's
yeah,
all.
trying to navigate
Yeah.
the menu, like figuring out like where you go sometimes.
I will
is a
say,
little
yeah,
cumbersome.
like the menu footage. I don't know what it's like. I don't know why I want to say like New World or something. Why, I don't know if like it looks like it's like
funny.
Amazon's New World or something. Like,
Yeah.
which I also don't think is very like stylistically appealing. Just like the elements themselves. Like some are good, but when you get into like the menus themselves, it feels like it's a very familiar, been there, done that look that I'm not like. I don't want. I hate using the word generic to describe something in a negative way, but like it's the part. If you're looking for something that'll be a little bit like down, for me to be down on, despite being high on like the in-game visuals, it's the menu interface doesn't look. It looks serviceable, but like I think. It's like, as long as it's like easy to understand, but you're saying even that might be a little bit confusing with like the
bit.
Picto stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it-
when you especially like trying to first navigate, figure out how to
It's basically Hall of Greats, and it's like one little blemish on this great game. You know what I mean?
okay.
It's just like a tiny little, a little thing.
But some of the things I want to talk about with the Picto system though is the other aspect of Pictos is so the ones that you have equipped, Damiani, they also boost your stats. So it's like you get the ability plus you get a stat boost. So it might increase like your HP or your crit or whatever. So like
Okay.
So you can play into your
I get it.
strengths or like you can like, make up for your weaknesses that way. But the thing about those abilities is I actually really most of the time when you have these accessory things in RPGs, they don't really mean a lot to me. It's like, oh, whatever, I'll put it on and I forget it.
Fair.
In this game, I feel like most of the Pictos that I picked up,
They matter.
they matter. Like I understand what it's going to do and how it's going to help me, and I want that.
Totally.
And the only thing now is I just feel like there might be too many of them.
Yeah, I started picking
Like,
up a lot. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, and like you're only 4 hours.
Yeah.
right.
I was like, uh-oh.
It's like I'm picking them up all the time,
Yeah.
and they do give you a lot of points to like be able to like equip a whole lot of different abilities at once.
And then you get extra party members, and he's like, you got to do this for like 3 or 4 people. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting because it's like each one individually feels pretty impactful, but I'm starting to get into ones that are like, okay, this is a little bit more like very specific. It's like, oh, if you're alone, if you only have one person in your party, this thing will have
For
this
arenas
effect.
and shit.
Yeah, and like there are things because like you can challenge. One of the fun things, Damiani, is you can challenge the merchants. There's things on their shop that they will only offer you if you beat them in a duel.
Oh, okay. That's adds some personality for
Yeah.
sure.
The story is really amazing. We won't go into it because this game just came out like today. We're not going to go into spoilers at all, but I will say it's very emotional and high stakes, and I was immediately invested in the fate of these characters.
Yeah.
And I also want to say that this is just a fucking win for video games. This is a turn-based RPG, brand new IP, double A probably budget, like
Well, it's 30 people.
exactly 30 people working on this, brand new IP, $50 game, not full priced, debuting with a 91 on OpenCritic and a 92 on Metacritic. Universal acclaim.
Yeah, that's
We
pretty
have arrived.
pretty amazing.
So the industry is not just franchises and remakes. Here we go.
Trying to think about what else that I wanted to talk about. Did I like? I'm trying because like we bounced around to some things as I started to say things, but like I really like the exploration and level design and a lot of this. Oh yeah, because I got sidetracked on the whole obstacle course thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but it starts a little Wukong-y where it's like, okay, little corridors like going down, and then, you get to the world map, of course.
Yeah.
A little more freedom.
More things to find out. Like because like the first world map is just kind of like, okay, this is sort of what the world map looks like, and then the second time that you get out to the world map, then there's a lot more optional things to go and mess around with before you go to your main objective.
Yeah. Highly
So, the
recommend.
camp. The camp is what I wanted to talk about. The camp is really interesting.
Love camps, dude.
Because it's like
Campfire.
it's sort of like taking that element, like you saw like those moments in like Chrono Trigger or whatever. It was just like that was part of like the the concept art,
Yeah.
for Chrono Trigger,
Sure.
and like there was like a scene or two where that was a thing, and in this it's like it's a mechanic where it's like every now and then it's like you're just on the overworld map, you push down on the D-pad and you camp, and you can have these
Conversations.
these really good conversations with your party members there.
Characters rule.
And then you also have like other characters that you meet along the way, like SGA, like the curator, who will they will be able to upgrade your weapons and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You get to like
Give you
sit down and like
insights.
write in your journal.
Love that part.
There's a record player there, Damiani. So like when you find like these
Nice.
records, like in
Lonely,
Final
Dark, and
Fantasy
Deep,
16,
bro.
yeah.
Let's go.
Kestrian. There you go.
And there's some pretty key story stuff that happens in the camp. So it's
Yeah.
not just like a side thing.
We love camps. We love camps, dude. We think of our boys Noctis and Prompto cooking by the camp. We love 15 in this house. We love it. We're defenders, right? Right, everybody?
Yeah.
There
But the
we go.
pacing,
Thanks, Blood. Thanks for backing me up, bro.
the pacing,
We love 15.
the pacing and the variety in this so far.
It top notch.
It's one of those games where like I don't feel like I'm ever getting into a slog. I want to see what's around the next corner.
Do you want to know the best compliment I can give a game now that I'm 37 years old? This is a game that I want to wake up early to play.
Right.
I go to sleep and I will like set my alarm earlier just to freaking play this game. I have not felt that way in a minute, dude, where it's like, no, I need to go to sleep so I can wake up and just play more of this.
Well, like last night it was like
Holy
I was
shit.
like, I was a bummer because like I started late and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, but like I should try to play some more before we talk about it.
Yeah.
And then I was like up until like 5 a.m. and I'm like, I should really find a safe spot.
Blood
I'm
doesn't
like,
sleep.
I'm gonna go a little further. Okay, now safe spot here.
You're like, one more conversation.
Well, no, there's these little guys. They're kind of like they're like the equivalent of like metal slimes.
Love metal
I don't
slimes.
think
Give me the
you've come
XP.
across any of them
No.
yet.
Get that XP, dude.
So you've
Farm
got to
'em.
chase them to like a certain spot, and then when you chase them to that spot, then you can actually get into combat with them.
Yeah.
But then you have it varies, but you have a certain number of turns to defeat them before they run off.
Got it.
So
Classic metal slime.
But anyway, so there's one of those guys there, and then there's something else. It's like, okay, well, I want to like at least like clear this little spot, and then I'll
Yeah.
save it the next.
Then it's
but-
like 6 a.m.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I gotta upload my footage still too.
It's one of those games, Chad.
But yeah, I just love playing this game.
Same. It's very special. It feels
and-
very special.
Oh, and that was the other thing I kind of alluded to earlier is you can like power through some things like I've been doing like Punch Out style, but then like Brittany Brombacher, like she's been
Shout out.
grinding it out because like
You totally can Dark
the
Souls.
flags will
yeah.
like respawn enemies.
I thought of
so
Jones
you
immediately.
can find a spot and just like grind it out if you want.
Totally. For sure. You can change difficulties anytime. There's 3 difficulties.
Yeah.
The highest one says
I
that
feel like
parrying
normal's
and
pretty
dodging is
challenging.
required
Yeah.
to progress. And then the middle difficulty is it's encouraged. But yeah, it seems the difficulty seems good because get to a new area. Trash mobs are a little challenging, not really. Quickly you like start to overpower them, but then there's always like a side fight or a side boss or something that's like intense. And I
Yeah,
like that.
there's been quite a few
Yeah.
good side challenges.
Yeah.
They're called a lot of them are there's the mimes, but then there's also they have chromatic at the beginning of their
Chromatic.
name. Those are the hard guys. Those are the ones to watch out for.
Nice. When the QTE tutorial popped up, Bloodworth, did you think about Shenmue and Yu Suzuki's contribution to the video game industry at all? Or did you dismiss it?
It's funny that you brought that up because I will say that was actually another one of like the
I know
sort
Dragon
of
Lair did it first.
the negative points for me.
Yeah.
The way that the tutorials brought things in, I always felt like I was just the tutorial actually threw me off. Like I had to get into combats without tutorials to like actually like
To start like feeling the rhythm.
practice
and
and really feel it because like it'd be like right at the moment when you're supposed to push the button.
Yeah.
Hey, here's how this works.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. So I guess I'll push the button to dismiss this, and next time I'll see how it works.
Right before we move on to the next one, in the control room, how are we feeling about this potential gem in there? Are we going to play it?
Looks cool.
Gabby?
She says looks cool. She would like to play it.
Hell yeah.
I say too much text.
There's a bit, yeah. I like that note. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of clutter. Little visual noise for sure. Definitely.
Otherwise, it seems cool. It seems like one of those games where I will either really like it or 10 minutes in be like, nah.
Not for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel like the start.
I think you like the characters.
I didn't feel like the start felt slow, but I was telling Gene earlier today about this. I do worry that the people that are playing it on Game Pass might bounce, because it is like a good hour or so of like somber story stuff before you get to like actually start.
Yeah. Before you get the freedom of an open world RPG, it takes a few hours.
But even in the opening though, like, I appreciate that, like, it's not just like a bunch of like stop and listen to cutscenes. It's like you're free to explore that town and talk to people as much as you want or as little as you want, and get into like some of those training fights as much or as little as you want. So
immerse me in this brand new world.
Yeah.
So cool. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Don't skip for sure. Which brings us to our next one. Isla's here to talk about Blueprints. No, I'm just kidding. Yo.
Here we go. Strap in.
Dude. I don't know. I told you, right? I rolled soft credits in Blueprints. Oh.
Well, yeah, I guess there are soft credits and hard credits, but yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
Welcome to, you finished the tutorial.
Yeah, for real. But you're actually here to talk about your house. Not your place of residence, but the video game Your House.
Real brief. It's like an interactive fiction game with
Save Ferris, I get the nod.
Yeah. That's actually the second time that Save Ferris, wasn't that in Bloom and Rage also? She had a Save Ferris mug?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember it, but
I think you're
I
right.
wouldn't have caught onto it like that, yeah.
Out of my mind. Anyways, yeah, it's an interactive fiction game plus a little bit of puzzly kind of, or like, kind of a lot of puzzly kind of stuff, like remembering which rooms have stuff, remembering little codes. It's a little finicky, a little point and click kind of logic sometimes. Not too bad. Mm-hmm. But they even say like it's a book you can play, it's a game you can read, something like that.
That's awesome. That's a great sell. The visuals are nuts.
Yeah, it has kind of the Phoenix Springs kind of.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Looking at some of these shots.
Goodnight Moon kind of a vibe, which I think is really cool. All in all, I mean, I played the first like 3 chapters of it, which is about like half, I think, of the number of chapters that there were. I was enjoying it. Not very long. I think how long to beat said like 3 hours. So I played like half of it. Yeah.
How's the writing?
It's okay. It's pretty good. It's definitely, it's not Nabokov, but it's not bad.
Yeah, because this is also another game, as Hebrew was alluding to, where like you're just given a house and have to figure it out, right?
Yes, it is. That's what I was gonna say. It's like kind of weirdly like synchronicity kind of moment with Blueprints. Very, very, very different, games. Again, this is basically like a,
choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure kind of like it's like an interactive fiction. Yeah, it's a book with interaction fiction. But like they do stuff like this where it's like you have 40 seconds, you have to click you run and you click each run, Some of the stuff like that I thought was a little cute. This I liked where it's like the guard is looking, isn't looking, is looking, isn't looking, and you jump when it's not looking.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff I thought is where this was really strong.
Yeah, that's clever.
Some of the stuff you have to like click the thing and like switch to the right part of the knife or whatever. Some of that takes a little getting used to. You have to be like, oh, okay. But all in all, yeah, I mean, it's cool. If you like interactive fiction and you like this art style and you like kind of fun little not too hard, I would say so far, puzzles, this is right up your alley.
Definitely. And there's a demo, and the full game is only $10. We
Yeah.
love that.
Inoffensive, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
Your house.
We love that. Mostly positive on Steam. Only 18 reviews. So check it out. Check out Your House. Looks really cool, Isla.
Yeah, that's cool.
I am like, no matter what, always down for some kind of manor setting. Regardless of the gameplay mechanics. Like, oh, you're in a manor? I'll be there. Which brings us to your next one, Isla. I know you're psyched to talk about this little one.
Yeah, dude.
Sunderfolk.
So this one I also played. This one I played a lot more of. I played it with Sophia and my friend Jack. It is it's like a board game, but the TV is, well, it's not a board game. It's more like D&D, but the TV is your DM, and you what? It's like a tabletop, sort of a tabletop
Yeah.
game, but the DM, the TV is your DM and the game screen, and then each player is on their phone, and you don't have to be in the same room. Like I was streaming it on Discord to Jack.
Oh, interesting.
And he was using his phone,
Yeah, that
and then
makes
Sophia
sense.
and I used our phones, and it was like perfect. It was
That's awesome.
no problem at all. And so I just one game, you know.
That's so cool.
Shout out actually on this B-roll. Sophia and I are friends with Ashley here, this girl.
Nice.
Oh, that's funny.
So, Sophia looked at this trailer the other day. She's like, "What the fuck? That's Ashley." But yeah, you don't have to be in person, which is really cool about this game. But yeah, you sync up with QR codes, and then it's little figures, minifigs, whatever you want to call it. Not minifigs, but you know. And you move them around with your phone. The phone is really cool, actually. You download a free app called the Sunderfolk Controller, and you play using that. It has your character sheet, your stats. You can equip items on there. You move your character around, and it works really well. It's very, you know, there's not really much of a delay or anything.
It's aesthetically pleasing.
It's gorgeous.
For
The
sure.
character designs are so fun. There's a big bear with a hammer.
yeah,
Hubert,
it looks awesome.
designed specifically for you.
It looks so cool.
Yeah, and this is
Giant.
from Dreamhaven Studio, Secret Door, and so like I think there's a lot of former Blizzard folks over there. So
Nice.
It has that polish. It honestly, it was pretty surprising how well everything worked and how smooth and actually honestly pretty impressive the game is. We like pretty quickly into it, we were all like, wait, I love this. Like,
yeah, this looks so perfect. Like,
which, if you know me, is not a super common occurrence.
right.
For a game to feel worth my time is pretty sick. But not that all games are bad, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
the premise
But-
is amazing.
The animals, the character designs, very Redwall, Gabby, very animals with clothes, you know. And it's just, the vibes are really cool. So you go on missions, and the missions are fairly quick, 10, 20 minutes, whatever, so far. I mean, we're only 3-4 hours in. But yeah, you can see on the phones there. And then in between, there is like a hub, like a town, and everyone can go to different parts of the town on their own. You're looking on your phone, and like you can talk with different people in town, and the characters are really cute, and their writing is really nice. And there's like a DM, it's voiced. Sophia thought it might have been what's her name from Overwatch, Symmetra, maybe. We didn't look into that, but but she's like a DM, so she's doing most of the voices. Maybe all.
That's fun.
So like somebody else will come in and she'll be like, I'm here to come to the bar, and then she'll be like, you're not welcome in the bar, obviously better voices than that. But another cool thing is it'll like choose different players to name things. So there's like a shrine on
That's
some maps that
so fun.
heals you, and you can use it once per battle. And you get to name it, and so I named it Shrineable because it was a little. They're shaped like an animal.
That rolls.
And we were freeing a beetle in a different one, and Sophia got to name the beetle, and she named it Paul McCartney. And so we were like
So silly
finding
and
ourselves in situations where we're like, oh no, Paul McCartney's gonna walk into the fire. We gotta turn Paul McCartney. And I'm like, I can teleport Paul McCartney. So I was playing as the Arcanist. Each character has a different class, kind of. I was playing as the like raven with little glasses, and that's the arcanist. I can like do spells and move things around, which is really fun. Jack was playing as a little salamander who's a pyromancer, which is really neat. Combat is really cool. You can push things. You can do different skills, that kind of stuff. Sophia was playing as the bat, which is a bard.
Sick.
And the mechanics are really cool and kind of unlike things that I've seen before. So the bard, what it'll do is you do certain skills and then it'll drop power-ups onto the map around themselves. And so maybe you'll see it here in the B-roll, but they cut away. But it's really cool because you're not ever sure exactly what kind of power-up it'll drop for some of the skills. Some do it on purpose, but like it'll give you a shield or a power-up or health or whatever. And she can do it by swapping with you too. So Sophia was like, okay, I'm going to swap with you guys on the map, and then I'll move over here, and like there'll be just power-ups everywhere. It's really neat. And like Jack's character, the fire salamander, would put fire on the battlefield, which would hurt us and hurt enemies, but power him up.
Okay.
So he leaves
sick.
fire up, and if he walks into it, it makes him way stronger, like crazy stronger. But it adds a strategic level to the battlefield because it's like, okay, I can't go over there now because it's on fire.
Yeah.
But I could move an enemy into it.
This game looks so delightful.
It's fucking sick,
Yeah, it
dude.
looks
This game
so
rips.
good.
Did
It
you
looks
talk about
so
the
good.
fate cards you wanted to remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so when you do an attack...
if you could change your fate, I don't know, would you?
Hang on, because we were making that joke the entire night. Because every time you make an attack, it says draw your fate. And we were going, if you could draw your fate, would you? But then later, when you level up, you get new fate cards, and you can only have a certain number of fate cards. So it literally says change your fate. And so we were like, oh, okay. Like literally, we could change our fate.
It's so funny.
And so we were like, I will, I guess, turns out, change my fate. It's delightful. I feel like I could go on and on, but like,
it looks super
it's really
duper
fun. It's really good. Like if you liked, like to me, like Gloomhaven was fun. I thought that it was like a little punishing and like it kind of took longer than it needed to. This gives you kind of the joy of, obviously classics like D&D or whatever, Pathfinder, but also stuff like Gloomhaven. But there's no setup. You don't need a GM.
You just hop in and
you just hop in. You can play it with up to 4 people, locally or remote, on one game. At first, I was kind of surprised because it is $60. And that was more than I was expecting. But then I realized like, one person needs it and 4 people can play it, and like it's got a campaign. Like we're on like chapter 1 and we played for like 3 hours. I don't know if there are multiple campaigns, or I assume they'll add more as time goes. But it's no slouch. So
sick.
Yeah, I'm really into this.
Yeah,
it feels like
fun.
The promise of Armello. Like I always loved Armello, and no one would ever play with me. But
so
this one
right.
is like way like more. It's not the same gameplay wise, really. But anyway,
I'm always down for couch co-op, especially like the age now with like the Jackbox. Everyone just has their phone.
Well, that's the thing. Like
it's so cool.
We've had so many Jackbox games and they've been so successful, but I feel like there's still haven't been a whole lot of people to use that, even though we had the...
This feels like a huge evolution to that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we had that sort of like, that trendy E3 when everybody was like, oh, the Wii U is doing this. We got to do this too.
Second screen experiences.
Yeah, and like, Assassin's Creed Black Flag was like one of the few good ones, right?
Yeah.
And then it was like,
rush.
oh yeah, this is too many resources and nobody did it anymore. But like something like this where it's like, oh, this is a natural fit. You're not just like putting some ancillary thing out there. It's like, this is core to how you play this game and why you'd want to play this game. And it's like, and it goes back to like the freaking, it goes back to the freaking GBA to GameCube connector. right there.
Great.
Pac-Man versus.
Well, in this
call.
This like it feels
Great call.
it just feels natural. You know, I mean, like you're holding
Yeah.
your phone all the time, whatever. But like the stuff that's on the phone and the way the phone interacts, because like to do your attack and to like, there's no turn order. You discuss with each other and be like, okay, if I go first, we can do this and this, and then you'll be over there and I can do this. You know, and so like you just swipe the card up that you're gonna do, which is swiping it up at the TV, and then it flies onto the TV.
Yeah, that's
And
so
you
good.
do it, and
Sick.
it just feels right, and it feels cool. I'm really like, I was looking forward to this game, and I'm really surprised it kind of exceeded my expectations so far.
Sick.
Yeah, really, really into it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's my experience with Expedition 33. It was like, oh yeah, that game looks interesting. I start playing, and like, I don't want to stop playing now. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Isla. That looks freaking incredible.
We're gonna find a time to
I
group
stream
stream sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we need to
definitely.
stream this.
I'm
Like,
so down.
and like Damiani can actually play with us.
Yeah.
Even though it's
Yeah.
isometric, Damiani kind of, sort of, but like we can play remote with him, so that's really cool.
Yes.
Only 4 people though, so we'll have to
Yeah.
fight for it.
Rotate in. Alrighty, which brings us to Bloodworth. Also this week, what else is going down in this wild, eventful week of video games?
Fair number of game announcements. First up, out of nowhere, Microprose is reviving Airborne Ranger with Airborne Ranger Fight Out.
Airborne Ranger. Do
And
I know this?
First
one?
of all, that's what I want to know is
Do
if
I
there's
know?
anybody in the comments that even remembers
Airborne
Airborne Ranger other than myself.
I remember games exactly like that in the arcade. Like, what's the one? You're like, it looked exactly like that, but it's not that one.
No, I don't.
But I have played a game that looks exactly like that in the arcade.
There's a lot of games that
Is it
kind of have that,
1942? No,
like
that's
you're
a
thinking
plain
like a
one.
Commando or something like that, kind of similar, looks like that.
Yeah.
But like this was more stealth and tactics kind of.
Got it.
So like you would fly in and then you would have to, evade, getting spotted and like do your mission or whatever. And so this was 1987. I played it on Commodore 64. I'm guessing it was probably on other PCs as well, but I don't know how many things it was ported to.
Yeah.
And
What a deep cut,
it's
dude.
such a deep
oh
cut.
my god.
It's such a deep cut. I really want to know if anyone in the comments has ever heard of Airborne Ranger before.
What, man?
I remember the anti-piracy thing, Huber, was they had like all of the different the ribbons that like the generals and stuff wear. I forget what are they called.
Like medals.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, medals
And
ribbons.
so you had to they would show one on the screen and you had to like identify it, and they would be in the instruction booklet. But so if you didn't have the instruction booklet, like you
wouldn't
couldn't
know?
start the game.
Oh my god.
And it would say, it's like, you're fatigued, you need to go and take some time off or something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know that there's a lot of games that I played that really play like it. So it's kind of interesting that it's coming back.
Yeah.
But then at the
Everything
same time,
returns.
like, I don't like this trailer. Like, there's just too many like filters and weird things on top of it. I think the name Fight Out is a really weird. I don't
Airborne
understand.
Ranger Fight Out.
It
Yeah,
should
if
be
you
called.
didn't-
It should be called Infiltration or something.
100, no disrespect, but 100%, if you didn't tell me the historical context that this is like a revival, I would not even look at this game. I would look at it for a second and then move on. But the fact that it is a revival of a 30-plus
Yeah, it's
year old
kind of like when
game,
you have those like
that's
kind of like
interesting.
those sort of like lower budget like Atari remake kind of things. It's like, okay, that's a neat take on that classic franchise, right?
Yeah.
It's also multiplayer, so you can play this with up to 4 people, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I could see that like giving it more of like a Rainbow Six kind of a feel to it.
Shout out.
Yeah. But
Interesting.
we will see. We will see.
Intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Last weekend as well, Star Wars Zero Company.
Andor, dude.
Andor, dude.
Andor.
The name of that, for everyone whose ears just got blasted out, is Star Wars Zero Company.
Star Wars XCOM.
That's basically
Star Wars
it.
XCOM.
Developed by Bit Reactor in collaboration with Respawn. Step into the shoes of Hawks.
Hawks.
The guy's name is Hawks. It's like My Hero Academia over here.
Sounds like a character in Cobra Kai. Maybe because there is
Starhawk.
Upgrade Federation ships.
Former Republic officer commanding an elite squad of cunning operatives through a gritty and authentic story set in the twilight of the Clone Wars. Tactical operations and investigations across the galaxy. Between missions, you develop a base.
Love that.
Gather intelligence through a network of informants. That sounds fun.
Yep.
And then stay one step ahead of Zero Company's adversaries. Create and customize your own squad. All that good stuff. Yeah.
Roger.
It sounds so XCOM.
Yeah.
100%.
I remember, to this day, I remember on my Iron Man run or whatever of XCOM, I had a character, it was permadeath, and I had a character named Socks, which I think was just randomly
Socks.
assigned. I now have a friend named Socks, actually, but...
Signed
and
Socks to Hawks.
Socks got blown up, and I feel bad to this day, dude.
Socks.
Rip Socks.
We gotta get Don over here. He was excited for this. Michael Bay is signed on to direct an adaptation of
here we go.
Outrun
Yeah.
from Sega for Universal. And Sydney Sweeney is listed as a producer as well, but apparently not acting, just producing.
Yeah. Who?
Also. He was not in here, but Michael Bay is going to direct Sega's Outrun, and Sydney Sweeney's in it.
No, Sweeney's producing.
Yeah, that means she's in it.
I don't think she's in it.
She has to be in it. She was listed as a producer, and I'm saying, what's going on?
I think the Deadline story pretty much said that she wasn't in it, but I could be wrong.
It did. No, you're absolutely right, Blood. I looked at a bunch of different sources. It's only listing her as a producer, and I'm saying, what's going on here? How can they not list her as the hair? She's perfect.
List her as the hair.
She's absolutely perfect to be that whipping mane passenger. Can you imagine a better casting choice?
If Yu Suzuki is not consulted
that's
or
interesting.
given any kind of special thanks
I want
in
Yu
the
Suzuki-
credits, I'm hard out.
No. I want Yu
Yeah, that's a good
Suzuki
call.
in a diner with a milkshake.
Yeah, give him a cameo.
Oh,
honestly.
that would be so good.
Yep.
There's so much potential for this. I'm actually salivating at the idea. This is just like the perfect blockbuster, just popcorn movie you could possibly want.
Don, I am ready to agree with you because shockingly, Gran Turismo was amazing. That movie fucking ripped. I loved it. Twisted Metal
Gran
Season
Turismo.
1, also very good. We are in the era of like really solid game to film or game to show or game to anime adaptations. We're in a really nice spot.
Outrun is just such an interesting one, though, because it's like you got a car and you got the road and you got a guy and a girl.
You do a full gumball,
that's
gumball
it.
rally, point A to point B. It's like they do those in real life. They're gumball rallies where it is a race across state lines, across states, like a huge mega gauntlet race. So like if a movie was built around that, I think that could be pretty fun. Just like this really long endurance race.
Yeah, and
Lot
it's
of
all
cool
about
moments.
the locations, right, Huber?
Yeah.
So you just have the series of exotic locations. And
Dude,
that's what
racing
it's
through
all
the
about.
desert, the
Yep.
city.
And
You're
then you
so
could
right.
have some kind of rivalry happening, I imagine, with the opponent where they're going on various branching paths. You know?
Yes.
Here we go.
So,
What was the? Yeah, Huber. What wasn't Outrun? Yu Suzuki based it on a film. The concept. Sorry, I remember hearing this from like Max at one point. Like, I'll Google it for you. I'll just Google it.
Yeah, let me know.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's always a funny
Thought you
thing
might know
too
that.
when you get the game that was inspired by a film
Yeah.
and then they make a
His
film out of
original
the game.
concept. His original concept was to base Outrun on the American film The Cannonball Run,
Cannonball Run. There you go.
There you go.
which he was a
Run,
fan
Cannonball
of.
Rally.
There you go.
What you're talking
Boom.
about. Yep.
There it is.
So I never played like the sequel though. What was it in 2006? I think or something for Xbox. I heard it was excellent.
Oh, okay.
Did anyone
I don't know
try-
about it.
Yeah, I'm just curious if there's ever any actual narrative in that game because I don't know anything about it.
Right.
Other than I heard it was good.
The narrative I remember from Outrun is like when it was used in like Don't Drink and Drive videos.
I also
tumbling car.
spend way too much time playing it within Shenmue. That's where I play
there
all
you
of my
go. There
Outrun,
it
dude. I
is.
hit that
There it
arcade.
is. Yeah, there
because I did have Outrun on Sega Genesis originally, and that obsessed, and in the arcade as well, the arcade cabinet.
Love it in the arcade.
Then when it also in Shenmue,
This
it's
quote
like,
has me
oh my God.
concerned about them picking Michael Bay for this. Yu Suzuki
perfect.
said Yu Suzuki said he disliked racing games where cars explode on impact.
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay, notorious for a car touching anything. Biggest explosion ever.
The image of the slow motion Michael Bay barrel roll of this car, though, when it wipes out, is just too tantalizing.
They'll all be Pintos. That'll explain it.
Crazy.
And then
The original release of Outrun
Oh.
is September 1986. So cool.
nice. And then the last one here, Frostpunk 1886
What?
was announced this morning.
1886.
13 years before Arthur Morgan.
Coming in 2027.
Oh,
Whoa.
Same year as The Order, Huber. 1886.
Right.
nice.
This is basically a full rebuild, reimagining of the first game in Unreal Engine.
Whoa.
Sounds like one of the big goals is essentially to move it off of their old proprietary engine or whatever, and so they can have like more future updates and stuff.
Yeah. Is this the first dated game for 2027? No, right? We have some 2027 games.
I don't
on the
know for
calendar.
sure, but there's not been a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
I think that there are some for sure.
Okay, that's a ways away.
Yeah. This quote is no mere visual overhaul. It builds upon the core of the original, expanding it with new content, mechanics, laws, and perhaps most excitingly, an entirely new purpose path, offering a fresh experience even for the most seasoned players. So yeah, 11-bit.
Frostpunk, dude.
Yeah.
Handle with care, not for the faint of heart.
It's wild to me though because it's not even been a year since Frostpunk 2.
I know.
And I know they got to show us as a smokestack in
Yeah.
a crater, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So look forward to that
Yeah.
while they're
It,
expanding on Frostpunk 2.
Yeah. It makes me believe in. It makes me even more excited for Frostpunk 2 right now because this is down the line. So it just shows more life for the franchise. You know, if they're also working on that, I assume Frostpunk 2 is going to get a ton of support
Right.
for over the next year plus. So, yeah, Frostpunk's in a good spot. That's cool.
Yeah, I think 2 did really well, so
Yeah.
that's probably what helped them give the green light to this.
You've got the green light. Alrighty, it is time for Love and Respect. Love and Respect.
respect.
God, there are so many good games to play. So many good games to play. Also, Hades 2, I feel like, is coming like a freight train. I feel like that thing is going to come soon. Like, we're going to get some Keeley release date on that because they already said there's only like one more big DLC or one more big edition coming out. Oh, man. So many games coming. Okay, here we go. From Coke Kodoro.
Okay.
Koke Kodoro. In the last few years, leaks. Is this going to rile me up? Leaks
Don't be surprised.
have become more and more common to the point that I believe they spoil almost every official announcement. Yeah, we're looking at you, insiders. Hang it up. Hang it up. Like, we don't want you around anymore.
It's funny because you were mixing up insiders and influencers
I know,
earlier.
Totally.
But
I
it's
mean
like
insiders.
the quote unquote insiders that you're talking about are influencers
But not-
that are calling themselves insiders.
But not all influencers are insiders.
That's true.
We
That
don't
is the
want
line,
you
yeah.
inside us.
That is the line for me that I draw. I don't like it. We'll get do we need Jones on here for a leak rant? It is time, dude. We'll get him. We'll get them, I
All
promise.
right, finish their thought. Finish
Okay.
their thought.
This week's Oblivion announcement didn't feel impactful to me because it was rumored years ago, and just last week we saw leaked images. If it were up to you, would you block and prohibit any leaks surrounding the video game industry, or are they too tasty and hype not to have? You know I've got thoughts on this, but I'll let you all spit first.
Yeah, I just generally just don't go down the trail to follow them or dig into them.
I try to avoid.
It's like I'm aware. Okay, got it. That's a thing. That's a bummer that it got out there or whatever. But I don't need to actually like get all the juicy details. It's like we'll see it because I mean stuff gets scrapped all the time anyways.
Yeah.
And now that's the thing I do like is like when something's scrapped, like
show it. Definitely.
I'll take that leak.
Yeah. It sounds like it's really not a big deal, but I really think it is, and it may sound extreme when I say there is just a supreme lack of empathy from these bloody insiders, because put yourself in the shoes of a game developer that is grinding years of their lives to make this product for our enjoyment, and they want to release it on their time, their schedule. They are the creators of this thing. It is their right to release it to us, the consumer, whenever they want to, whenever they feel like it. We're still waiting for GTA 5 trailer 2. No rush. It's fine. On your terms. 6. And so yeah, it really just takes the wind out of their sails. Like I just working on something for years and then just having that taken from you. This is frustrating.
Yeah. Well, get Damiani.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like what Blood said, I really think that it's not totally important to expose the existence of a game before a company is ready to talk about it when it's just like a business as usual type game. I think leaks are important when they are either showing off something that would otherwise have never been seen before. Like Bud was alluding to, like a game just like would never see the light of day. A lot of hard people put work onto it. It was scrapped. Yeah. Oh, someone leaks a video of what it looked like. It's like at least something of their work gets out there and gets to be seen. So like that, I feel is like, worthy of the attention, worthy of the digging deeper on the for insiders or influencers, whichever they are. And obviously like any kind of leak that exposes like, an injustice going on somewhere, those are like, absolutely. But we're not talking about, we're just just for anyone who's screaming in comments. Ooh, what about those? Like we're just talking about like game reveals here.
Exactly.
Within the context of game reveals.
Investigative journalism is way different.
Yeah. This is strictly just about like existence of a game. Yeah. And as long as it's just like something that we would otherwise not know about ever, that's generally pretty fine for me. If it's just like I'm trying to beat the company to the punch to get cred, it's like
right,
and that's what it always feels like.
And that's like where it's like, I don't know if I really, have too much empathy for that. I would say companies could, really, put on their poker face and just bullshit and say, oh yeah, those images are real, but we canceled that project. It's not actually happening, and just crush everybody, and then
be like, psych,
and then drop it later and be like, oh, we're sorry, but like then people are going to start to pick up.
I don't think they ever
can't keep doing that.
Lie. Yeah.
But there are different ways of doing that without doing that. Square Enix with Final Fantasy VII Remake announced, they got us all hyped up, and then just announced the original game was coming out on
subterfuge.
So like you can kind of have fun with it and troll. They could have like announced like in that event like, a patch for the original Oblivion is coming out.
Well, what also,
and we love Oblivion and stuff, and everyone's like, wait, what? What the hell is this shit? Like, where's the new Oblivion? And just keep people waiting a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, what also helps to plug those leaks is not to have your team working on airplanes. Ubisoft.
Oh my god!
how many Ubisoft games are like somebody was sitting next to a person with a laptop open on an airplane?
Ubisoft leaks like a sieve. For sure. Any thoughts in there about leaks? Nope.
I was taking a research break for
It's all
the
good.
first part of that, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what's going on.
Do leaks bother you, Isla, at all, or do you not care?
No.
You don't care.
the
What if you were working on a song, Isla, for
No,
like
they do actually bother me.
like if you were working on a song for 3 years and you had this huge rollout hype, like, yo, I'm gonna stream it and reveal it, and
I mean,
then
that's true. That's,
and then
that's
someone else,
happening, yeah.
and then someone else was like, no, I got the song, I leaked
yeah,
it
that's
on my Twitter
devastating.
account.
I think leaks are silly and not good, and like it kind of just ruins the fun of like people planning a big thing and a big thing to roll out a thing, announce a thing,
Totally.
surprise people, the way they want to do it. Like
Yeah.
you're robbing the
joy.
creative process from having its intended rollout.
Yeah.
For what? For like some clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it seems kind of mean spirited and annoying.
Mean spirited.
the
Great
one
way to put it.
The one interesting sort of side argument to my own argument earlier, when we were at the Twitch 2 event, and
Yeah.
they were asking the technical guys, like, well, what kinds of things, did you want to use, that you decided to leave on the cutting room floor? And they're like, well, we don't want to tell you because we might use them next time. And then they revealed that like the magnetic Joy-Cons was something that they were looking into for the first Twitch, and then they decided not to use
Yeah.
it, but then they came back to it.
Yes.
So there's definitely like ideas and technical things like that. It was like they want to hold things close
Yeah.
to the vest just in case.
In case they come around down the line.
like
for
what
sure.
the freaking Mii's started off as something on like the NES or whatever back in the day, right?
Yeah.
They just kept poking at that stuff over and over, generation after generation, and then finally it's like, oh, this is what that idea is for.
Yeah. All right. From LEL. Hey, allies. I love shadow drops.
Hey.
So the reveal and release of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered earlier this week was nothing short of jaw-dropping. This week is also the release of Expedition 33, one of my most anticipated games of the year. Now again, I love shadow drops, but I can't help but worry that Oblivion's shadow drop might overshadow and hurt Expedition 33's release. My question is, can shadow drops be bad? And if so, what makes a good shadow drop? Do you see Oblivion's shadow drop as good or bad? Would love to hear your thoughts. Either way, I think it's safe to say RPG lovers are eating good this week, good this year, good last year. Thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
L and R. So can shadow drops be bad? And if so, what makes a good shadow drop?
I'll let Damiani go first because I've got things on here that I've already sort of said before, but
the bad show drop is for something that's like either like something that needs more time for people to process and like understand, and actually like needs a little bit of like lead up to it. Generally, like a complicated game. Or something that's like a new type of game, or just a new game, where I think shadow drops definitely are better for something that's like already in a series, and it's like a new entry in the series, and it's like, here you go. Or it's from a studio that you know about, they're working on a project, and it's kind of like if the more known quantities about it, I think the safer it is to shadow drop it. But I do think you can shadow drop a game and people are like, huh? Like what like,
Yeah.
okay. Like if it doesn't like either doesn't grab anyone's attention when it's shadow drop, it's like, oh, okay, that's cool, but I don't know anything about it. Or something that's like, damn, like it might do well, but like what if you had like, damn, you could have like built up a little bit more hype. You could have built up a little bit more awareness. Now you kind of burnt that cooldown on just, that one kind of like one trick pony right there. And that's it. Like maybe you always complain about this, like Huber, you complain about this a lot, how it feels like games are just not in the conversation for as long as they used to be.
come in and
And
go.
if you're doing that shadow drop, you really are burning that,
Yeah.
currency through that currency really quickly.
You're so right. I think Oblivion is an interesting case. It is a little, I am a little worried, it is a little threatening to Expedition 33 only because it is an RPG, same genre, technically. I know they're totally different style of games.
right.
But they are big RPGs with like a fantasy type element.
Well, and a lot of
with
time
magic.
investment. Yeah.
And-
So Huber, here's the thing. This is why I gotta let Damigani go first, because I unwittingly like stepped into the discourse on this. Like,
Oh, no.
Why I had a hit tweet and it was like. We're like,
Well, it's got a hit tweet.
People kept replying like all day long, and
Yeah.
you know, all kinds of different angles. But
Yeah.
because that was just my first reaction, right? I didn't see anyone else had said this or anything like that. I was just like, I'm playing Expedition 33 and I'm really enjoying it. I'm like really looking forward to people getting their hands on it, and then like Oblivion just comes out, and it's just like that's what it feels like. It's like you just obliterated everything else in your path because so many people love this game, and I think it's like because there were a lot of people that replied to me. They were like, oh, they're different kinds of games. People that like Oblivion aren't gonna like a turn-based game, and I decided I'm like, no, man, it's like Oblivion is like GTA. It's not as big as GTA, but it's like GTA, and it's like a lot of people who do not even play that kind of game will be there for Oblivion. Like
100%.
The minute like it's out today, I'm downloading it. I'm playing it right now. It's on Game Pass. And they will not come up for air for another week or two, and then it will be whatever's hot that week.
Yeah.
Right.
You're so right, because Oblivion definitely, and especially Skyrim, really felt like it pierced through genre barriers where a lot of people who didn't really play RPGs gravitated towards those games heavily.
Yeah, and there's just so much, so many memories, so much nostalgia, so much just like seeing like that first comparison shot, and it's like, oh my gosh, look how good it looks, and like you just want to get in. Even me as somebody who's never played Oblivion, right? I played Skyrim, and it's like, oh, I never played Oblivion. That looks really great.
Yeah,
and like
because it just feels important.
Yeah,
and it is a hard thing. Like the pull of the zeitgeist is so strong, especially when something has a legacy and is so hyped and beloved. So it is really that kind of war is too strong a word, but like a battle between, this nostalgic comfort food and this unknown brand new IP.
Right. And like an Expedition 33, like it's actually like on like.
Thankfully, the reviews are so good.
Yeah,
that
but that's what I'm saying is it's actually on the high end of like it probably won't be as forgotten because it's had so much attention on it, right?
Yeah.
Although there are surprisingly so many people like, I never even heard of that game until today. I'm like, how did you miss it? Okay, but that's a whole other subject. But there, are other games like Sunderfolk.
Yep.
Like Raw Fury was like they were one of the indie publishers that was like, we just put out Post Trauma today, and is anyone going to notice because all they're talking about is Oblivion, and like we spent a lot of time trying to find a spot where we thought it would be open, and where there wouldn't be anything, and then this comes out of nowhere. And then the other angle of it, that the reason that it kind of like stuck out to me more than anything is that like Oblivion, yes, it's Bethesda, and they are probably steering the ship.
Game Pass.
But it's an Xbox studio now, right? It's an Xbox decision of when to approve that release date. On some level, I would think that they would like want to have that discussion and strategize. And so it's a little crazy that like they just hyped up Expedition 33 by making it one of the 4 games in their developer direct a couple months ago, alongside Ninja Gaiden 4.
Yeah.
Right? And then 2 days before release, boom, here's Oblivion.
And that too,
Good
it
luck.
coming out first, because like people may have immediately the hype. You get Oblivion and you start it, and you're like, well, I'm already like 5 or 10 hours into this. Like, am I gonna start Expedition 33 now, or just kind of keep on my Oblivion path? I feel like that's gonna affect a lot of people.
And it's like it's not
hard games to juggle for sure.
It's not like it's the end of the world or anything like that. It's not like I'm like mad at Bethesda, or like some people are like, is like they didn't do it intentionally. It's like, of course they didn't do it. Like they're not trying to like snuff out some indie dev. Like that's not what they're doing. But it's just but it's still like it's a big bomb that you just dropped that people were not accounting for. And there are some insiders that probably knew it was coming. Expedition 33 might have known it was coming.
But like small teams, small studio.
Other people
like,
definitely did not.
You can't we talk about it all the time. You can't just move your release date because of marketing budgets, and that's like a big train coming into the station. You can't just be like, wait a sec. Actually, we're going to come out like a week or two later.
Right.
Like, there's a lot that
Just like
goes
how
in.
everyone is terrified of like when is GTA 6 releasing right now. You know, like they do not want to be anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun. It's so fun. Don't get me started on GTA, dude.
They shadow drop GTA 6.
Don't even get me started on that.
Which they can't now because it's, you know, it was
Well.
leaked anyways, but yeah.
Dude, Mario Kart, GTA. This can be fun. All right. Next.
Wait, is this real, ZOVGM? Breaking news, I guess. Sydney Sweeney, speak of the devil, cast in a live-action split fiction movie, John M. Chu to direct. The
Nice.
Wicked guy. Variety. Wow.
They were,
Cool.
yeah, they were talking about optioning
I had
that
heard they'd
recently,
optioned it. Yeah.
So, like, I'm imagining shades of Tron. You know? Going into a computer sim.
I don't know how. It's definitely like that's definitely a movie concept that like this is not gonna work.
No, it'll work. Do you want to know why? Because they can do split screen in the movie, too. That'll be cool. Play with that. Play with that somehow.
I highly doubt it.
No, there will...
And they could. It'll be like
100% there will be a scene in split
Ang
screen.
They will be
Hulk.
a 2-minute gimmick to,
100%.
to give it a nod.
100%.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Isla?
It'll be like Ang Lee's Hulk, where they used split screen constantly to make it look like a comic book.
I
Remember
forget that they did that. I haven't
Yeah.
seen that in a while.
It was like one of the
forget.
early comic book movies. They were like, hey,
Cool.
let's constantly do split screen.
Ang Lee has such an interesting career. His filmography is
Very weird.
varied. All right. Next is Obscur.
Obscur.
Hey, allies. I just want to give a shout out to Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Full title. I like that. And share how excited I am for this game. I was checking out the developer's website, Sandfall Interactive, which highlights the key people behind the project. One detail really stood out to me. Art director Nicholas Maxin Francombe lists Dishonored, I totally see that, League of Legends, BioShock, and drumroll for Huber, The Order 1886, as his favorite games.
Nice.
When you look at the art style of Clair Obscur, that influence makes perfect sense. It absolutely
Yep.
does now that you have those games all laid out for sure. So here's my question for you. What are some of your favorite games in terms of art direction? We're starting with you, Damiani. To make it more interesting, pick one modern game
Oh my gosh.
and one retro game. For me, my retro choice would be Another World, aka Out of This World, and my modern pick would be Sayonara Wild Hearts. Love Sayonara. Wild Hearts. Go for it, Damiani. A retro
yeah, I said
and a
earlier.
new.
I mean, is Valkyria Chronicles retro now? I don't know. It's like,
Borderline. It's getting there. It's getting there.
Borderline. It's PS3.
Shit.
I forgot.
getting
I mean,
there.
because I was gonna pick that as like one of my modern ones for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, besides like Valkyria Chronicles, like still, I think looks very like good, and was one of the games that like stuck out for its like visual style, and obviously, Persona 3. 4, 5. Yeah. I mean, Metaphor, obviously, like the team behind Persona and the team behind Metaphor at Atlas, they just do like a phenomenal job with those environments and it's just like cool. It just looks cool, I guess. It's hard to make a game that just like looks cool, and this looks awesome like that. Retro, I'm gonna cause so much controversy right now.
Do it.
I am the biggest drama in Easy Allies history here.
Do it.
A Link to the Past.
Yeah,
Take
dude.
that, boss man.
Let's go.
Best
We love Link to the
retro
Past here.
visuals ever.
Seriously, some of the best
The
visuals
walls look
ever.
stupid. Okay, bud.
Seriously, some of the best visuals ever. Link to the Past, dude. Come on. Like, top 3 images of all time coming out of the house in the rain. Dude, come on. Come on.
For sure. Yeah, like absolutely. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Blood?
Retro, I'm going to go with Okami.
What a pick.
The the paper effect in particular that they had on PS2 original game is just like, yeah, it's pretty interesting. And then, yeah, just having the way that the brush and all of that worked and played into everything was really, really cool. And, you know, and we hadn't seen too many games that had gone that route.
Yeah.
You know, now it's maybe, you know, a little bit more common. And then modern, just thinking recent things, got to go South of Midnight.
Dude, sick
The art
pull.
direction on that game, and yeah, the main characters and everything is just so good.
Yeah. How about in there, Allie? You got any?
Really
like-
yes.
I really like Blueprints.
I was thinking Blueprints is a recent the art style of that is really it's clean, it's classic.
So cozy.
For me, retro, you know, initially I was gonna say, you know, Symphony of the Night, Tactics,
Yeah.
but like, I actually think that like it lights up my heart and my brain neurons or whatever is the like hyper compressed pre-rendered background stuff like Seventh Guest or Myst or Resident Evil, like that just vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm making a music video that looks like this right now, but like that vibe is just so my vibe for retro. So I love that.
Yeah.
And then modern games, yeah, I like games that take like a artistic direction more than just trying to have good graphics generally. So yeah, Blueprints is a great example of recent ones.
Yeah.
Outer Wilds comes to mind.
Oh, nice one.
That kind of stuff, I guess.
Yeah. For me, lowest hanging fruit of all time, the best in the biz, Super Mario World retro. Come on now.
No,
Yeah.
there's some really great
Like-
stuff there. I mean, I was talking
Ugh.
because I was talking to Don about this thing where people were like, they were reacting to Shuhei's comment, you know, and they're like, oh, but Nintendo's always done iterative consoles. I'm like, no, dude, like you're like taking for granted a lot of things by saying that, because like, no, like every single one of those consoles was like, when you saw it was like, whoa, right? Like, and like with the Super Nintendo, shoulder buttons and all that, but like, in particular, like Super Mario World, like you look at the ghosts and ghost houses and like all the transparency and everything that's going on there, and then like charging chucks.
Yeah, dude, all
You
the
know,
characters,
just there's-
like, everything. It's
Yeah,
peak. It's
the
peak.
Blarg, you
Yeah.
know, like just so many cool. The Forest of Illusion.
Donkey Kong Country, like
Yeah.
Dude.
melted my brain. as a
Yeah.
kid. Yeah.
And then modern chat. No surprise here. Darkest Dungeon. Come on now. Darkest Dungeon 2. I love the way 2 looks.
Yeah.
Modern art style. It is one of my favorite things to look at is Darkest Dungeon 2. Love the way that game looks. My God.
I didn't put a thing
Any
here for you.
others
Let me see if I can find
back
something.
there from the Peanut Gallery?
No. Don's not in here. Gabby's busy.
Gabby says Red Dead 2.
Gabby says Red Dead 2.
Yes. Am I allowed to say that for you, Gabby, on your behalf?
Yes.
Great. Alrighty. By the way, before we get to this week's bets, Easy Allies patrons are getting 2 bonus love and respect questions, just like the ones you just heard. They're amazing. They're always so much fun. Get in there for just $5, including Game That Name. So if you want to get in on that extended cut, you know, consider becoming a $5 patron. You get this podcast 2 days early and ad-free, which is incredible value. And you can submit those questions to Love and Respect. Don't be shy about it. Ask us anything you want. Ask us who would win in a fight, Predator versus blank. Ask us those questions. Predator versus Goku. Goku always wins. And you
cheats.
can, what's up?
He cheats.
And you get into our official Discord. And if you really want to help us out, you can join one of our producer tiers. Our platinum producers get a shout out on this podcast each and every week. This month's shout outs go to Jabboabs and El Thanis. Shout out.
Shout out. Predator versus Kong?
Ooh. Predator vs. Godzilla, Predator vs. Kong is one of my favorite like fantasy fights. I think that would be
process.
sick.
It's a thought process.
Yeah. They just announced Predator Kills the Marvel Universe comic book coming out in August.
Oh.
And like all the Marvel characters are just dead at the Predator's feet.
Oh my god.
They had a Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe before, I think, right?
Dude, Predator versus Deadpool. Come on. This is crazy. Love it. Now come join us on Patreon for those bonus questions. That's patreon.com/easyallies. Time for bets. It's time for bets. Here we go. Betting time. This week's bet excites me because it is time for the cultural re-examination of Days Gone. Criminally underrated game. I love it. Friggin' upgrading your bike, dude. All the resource, like the management, all that stuff. Giant freaker hordes. I am hyped to get back to Days Gone again. I love that game.
I honestly
it.
think that game would have sold double if they didn't call them freakers.
Freakers. It is so silly. It is so silly. Freakers. The game would have sold double if I was their hype man. They should have hired me. All right. Days Gone Remastered is out in like 90 minutes from now. I believe it'll be dropping. If not, it's like tomorrow. This time next week, consider the cultural re-examination that is about to go down for this game. Where will it be ranked on Twitch this time next week? The game comes out tonight/tomorrow. The Arrogant Child, Damiani.
I'm going with 25th place.
25th.
Oof.
The Wicked Worm, Daniel Bloodworth.
I am at 27.
27. The Whimsical Scum Idler.
I'm hoping for the high, 36th.
36. Punished, Unstoppable Castellanos Dawn.
12, he says 12.
I would trust it. Punished Castellanos is rolling.
Yeah.
The Strange Valentine, Gabby.
30.
We're all
And
bunched up here.
The Fancy Stars member Huber, I'm coming in with 22.
Wow.
Wow.
22.
The days
That
aren't the
means
only
there's
thing
a
that's
really
gone.
big gap between Huber and Don.
I know.
And the rest of us are all bunched together.
Once again, Don's looking good. Looking good there, Don. Days Gone. I am truly excited for the discourse. Truly. I want to see how it is received today. I'm very, very curious. Last week's bet. Easter is this Sunday, so how many eggs will be in Nintendo's Twitter feed between now and next week? That was last week. Screenshots, videos, emojis, all that stuff counts. You want to take it away, Blood? You want to read them all?
I'll read the next part. You can do this bet. Yeah.
Okay. Damiani said 1. Bloodworth said 3. Isla said 4. Don said 3. Gabby and I said 5. The answer.
I looked through. I watched every video that Nintendo tweeted. I was pausing on Mario Kart every time. I was looking out for any kind of Yoshi's Island or Yoshi's Story. The only egg was the goose egg. It's 0.
Zip.
Straight up 0.
Wait, I thought you posted something that had an egg earlier.
It looked like eggs. I went a frame later and they were mushrooms.
Oh.
Even if it was the 1, Damiani still would have taken.
Well, there were 3 mushrooms, but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
The Arrogant Child. Damiani takes it with 1. Nice. We also have some unfinished business.
Now here we go.
Hyped on this unfinished business. I don't know spoilers, so
He stood up.
I'm finding out with you live right now. I have no idea how this is gonna go. Here we go.
All right. Last week, Huber was not happy.
Yeah.
that I counted a fraction of a second to determine the bet's winner.
Insane to me.
Huber
but
and
I will
Isla had
accept
bet
it.
6 seconds. Dawn bet 8 seconds. And when I looked at the amount of time that the hammers were on screen in that trailer, it came in slightly over 7 seconds, which I noted is 7 seconds and 29 frames. I was just going off of the premiere. It was like 7:29, whatever that is.
I mean, if it was 30 frames per second, that is almost 8.
Right. But it's probably
wait,
it was
no, I'm
probably
pissed.
it was probably 60 frames per second. But anyways. So Huber asked me to bring it to the patrons.
Yes.
To decide
fair.
whether only Dawn should receive the point
No fate, but what you
or
make
whether
patrons.
all 3 would receive points, counting, only the whole second. Out of 16 comments, 3 people said all 3 contestants should get a point. 10 people said that Dawn alone should get the point.
All right.
Sekiro 505 said I should get a point. 2 people wished Gabby happy birthday.
Nice.
Happy birthday, Gabby.
Harrison Holt said, quote, usually a question like this would state to the nearest whole second if it was going to be rounded. If the bet did not state this, then no rounding of the answer should occur and Dawn is explicitly the closest and so wins the bet.
If no rounding occurs, it's a tie. Because it would be 7.
No, the 7 would
Oh,
be the
no,
rounding.
unrounded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
And there you go.
The,
The patrons hath spoken the law.
two thoughts on this.
Yes.
First, I dawn alone. Second, does this mean we're gonna have to start getting like insanely granular with our answers?
No, because it's just like winning a race. Like when you cross the finish line and the F1 car and the next car is right behind it, you don't go round to the nearest second and say they tied.
Yeah, but they measure that shit with like lasers.
Well, we use the Premiere frame by frame.
We need lasers.
It's just crazy that this was the format now. You know what I mean? This is unprecedented, but
We don't have that many.
moving forward.
We don't have that many things
take it.
that we're counting time on, though. Like most of
Yeah.
the time, it's like how many eggs.
Sure.
I'm not gonna count a half of an egg,
Sure.
right? Like.
I think you would. You would have counted it as 1. You would have counted that. You would have
I think it would have been 1.
You would have measured the pixels, and if it was over 50%, you would have counted it as 1.
It's also a result of 2 very specific things, right? Where it's like, I judged the length of that not by like adding up numbers, but by like I dropped it into Premiere, I sliced it at the frames where that hammer was on, and then I saw what Premiere said the length was. And then the fact that you guys were that close anyways, and it was somehow dropped right between you.
I mean, for the record, I agree. 7 seconds and 15 and 29 frames is 8 seconds.
I want to thank the patrons for their voting there, for their judgment. They have passed judgment. Patrons judge eyes.
Judge eyes, dude.
All right, bringing the scores to Punish Castellanos.
Wait, does Don get another point for that?
No.
No, he got the point last week.
Oh, you got the point last week.
The
Sit down.
reverse,
Sit
it would have been a
your ass
reversal.
down.
Yeah.
Sit your ass back down, Don. You don't get to make a speech.
He does
Yeah.
get to make a sound.
You get to make a second. Get
Yeah.
your ass back over here, Don.
I don't get another point though. I misunderstood.
No,
how
you
that
got
worked.
the point already.
You got the point.
I
It
thought
was
they just gave me
a coach's challenge, if you will.
Are you sure?
We coaches challenged
You
your
were
point.
standing to lose a
The
point.
call on the field
No, he
stands,
wouldn't have lost the
Don.
point.
The
Just
call
there
on
would
the
have been
field
additional
stands.
points.
We did not
You would've
reverse the
gained
call.
points too.
Yeah.
Don says that would be nice.
That'd be nice if someone else scored some points around here. Got some points somehow.
Here we go.
Don needs some weighted
Wow.
Damiani
quotes.
got a point.
Going to his head now. It only took until the end of April. There it is. Okay. All right. Punish Castellanos 6.
Job dispatch.
The Wicked Worm 3. And the winner of this week's bet, The Arrogant Child 2.
Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis is the best video game ever.
Whoa.
Donkey Kong sucks.
A, B, A, B, A, B, B, C, I forget it. The blood code. On the
I think
Genesis
it's
version.
ACAB.
Yeah, something like that. The Whimsical Scum and the Fancy Stars member both have 1.
Haha.
I don't even know what to say. I can't even be a fan. I'm just a. Can I change my name to Sad Stars member?
No.
Can I? Yeah.
You won that, Fancy.
Yeah. Good job. Good job, Don and Damiani. And the Strange Valentine, Gabby 0. Gabby, we'll get you 1. We'll get you 1. I only have 1. I mean, it's the same damn thing. 1 or 0, honestly. Truly, we're in the exact same boat
It
here.
can turn around.
Tell
so
that to
fast.
binary.
Yeah.
It can turn around so fast.
All right. Promotions. We got some promotions here. Indiana Jones interview is up. That just dropped on the PlayStations. That was absolutely one of my favorite games last year. And now more people can play it. They've been working on it all this time, patching it up. And the interview, they went into some of the additions and changes and stuff.
Yeah. You got to ask about that whip.
Oh, the whip. The whip. The Lost Records spoiler mode with myself, Blood, Isla, and Elise.
Woo!
Is also up. So sick. Lost Records finished. Part 1 and Part 2. The whole game is done. So we'll see what the future holds there. But yeah, check out our spoiler mode. Always so fun.
Yeah.
Talking
Always
about-
fun to start comparing notes and be like, wait, what?
It's always so fun. And of course, the Last of Us spoiler modes after each episode of Season 2 have been going down. Gabby and I live do that the night of, a little bit after the airing of each episode. And we've got 5 more of those coming every Sunday. Twitch.tv/Easy Allies if you want to try to catch it live. Usually a couple hours after the episode has aired. The Arrogant Child. You get to shout out to anything or anyone that's on your mind this week. You get the final word, and you get to sign off with your trademark sign off. Take it away.
All right. I'm just giving a shout out to latest season of Black Mirror. That was really
Hell
good.
yeah.
Real good stuff in there.
Hell yeah.
We'll not say any more because it'll be spoilers. Always a good. I will say, looking back, I thought like there was a season that was like super long, and like the amount of episodes of this was like almost as long as longest season. I was like, dang, a lot of their seasons were really
6s.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like
Some were like
2 or 3
First
episode
season was
seasons.
3,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was
Weird.
like,
For sure.
oh. Also, the amount of time between one episode in this and a episode it's related to, the 8-year difference. Like, oh my gosh, it was 8 years since the
Crazy.
oh wow, that's like that's a lot. Anyway, the final word. Stop leaking games for notoriety, please. There you go. And until next time, may the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
I'm too old for this shit.
The Easy Allies would like to thank our Patreon podcast producers. We apologize in advance for all the ally names we are about to misspell and mispronounce. Jabawabs, L. Thanis, Alexander Zirianov, Jay Shee, Jesper Popmel Dufay, 44 Stars, Andri, Brandon White, Brian Kruger, Colton Pichone, Daniel Martinek, Douglas Chomich, Faraz Rizvi, Garrett Holfish, G. Levin, Hayden Hargraves, Jesse Blue, Jesus R., Luis Ibarra, Miguel Rivas, Mo Grant, Paul Sway, Ronka Q, Robert Stoffel, Sam Handrick, Stomps, Stepan Hakobian, The Banana Forklift Killer, Chum Nguyen, Zigazich, Anish Dor, Aaron Haney, Accounts Payable, Alex Monaco, Anacroth, Andreas Risberg, Anthony F., Anthrioni, Arthur Lau, Austeel, Barry Tomasini, Brian Foster, Bunny Chen, C.S. Lewis, Katie Garza, Chief Uhu, Chris Eccles, Christopher Santis, Clay Roberts, Colin Montaut, Connell Sumlin, Corey Jackson, Corey Landega, Crumb Eyes, Culinary Stud, Cyberboa, Dan Sebring, Daniel Kozlowski, Daniel Wong, David Aniki, Enya Hink, Eric Tobias, Ethereal Ether, Forever Ender, Forrest, Gabriel Smith, Jen Woofles, Gino A. Leet, Gustav Strombaum, Harrison Holt, I Sun Chor, Ian Anderson, Gerald, Jesse Fish, Jesse Wilkeson, John McCullough, John Prey, Junya Motomura, Carl Williams, Keegan Boyle, Kevin Gillet, Kroldemort, Leon Keys, Lion Crown 19, Marco Hernandez, Materia Addict, Matthias Clare, Max Miller, Miguel, Nefertiti Jenkins, Nycrypt, Nick Hill Sharma, Ninja Kitty Meow, Ono Turtle, Orugachino, Pablo Rodriguez, Patrick Held, Pixelated, Pulphead, Ray Aldiar, Reed Johnson, Richard Ma, Ritz 1906, Robert Seven Lee, Robin, Ryan Rudger, Sage Mode Q, Salvers, Samuel Copeland, SD Prima, Sebastian T, Servino, Sean Johnstone, Cito, Strikeout NZ, Sultab, Tadashi 047, Taffy 9K, Tim Strothman, This Is My Username 1466, Tomovi Kioni, Travis Ing, Trizak, Wouter DeHaze, Yami Zetsumi.